Hello. Hello. How's everyone doing? It is episode 218 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
What is up, crisis actors? It's Mary. Today, we're going to have a somewhat chaotic and maybe sad episode.
Bittersweet is the word you're looking for.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet for sure. We've got two guests in studio today, and we're very happy to have them.
Would you like to introduce them both, please?
Well, the lady of the hour. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sour Patch Lids. Today is my last day on Pop Culture Crisis, and I'm very sad. Probably gonna cry sometime during the course of this episode.
I'm kind of crying right now.
I know.
I'm joined. Have a little cry.
I know. As a treat, I'm joined by my lovely husband, the true star of my life, Andy.
Hi, I'm Sour Patch Andy.
That's right.
Is that your actual name now, Sour Patch Andy?
Yeah.
He took my first names. Yeah, that's what happened.
That's very progressive of
I
you.
know. It's great,
very
right?
progressive
Yeah.
of you. So, on this bittersweet of days, we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. But before that, I want to thank everyone who joined us on the second stream that we restarted yesterday.
That was exciting.
I have now spent the last 24 hours obsessing over why that happened, and we've done some troubleshooting. If something happens again today, just listen for the sound of screaming from across the country. You'll likely hear me screaming something obscene. But I want to thank everyone who hung in there, came and joined us.
Like
on
200
the second stream.
people that came to our second stream. We really appreciate it, actually.
We absolutely do. So we're going to talk about one of the most dystopian and depressing things I've seen in quite some time. We don't often talk about comics, like actual physical comics here very often, mostly movie adaptations and stuff like that because it's more culturally relevant. But there is an article in Bounding Into Comics discussing this Marvel Pfizer crossover with the Avengers that is just... It's just awesome. You're gonna love it. I promise you guys are gonna love it.
Thank you.
After that, we are gonna get into we are gonna talk about the implosion of Time's Up in the Me Too movement as a whole. We've got some analysis on that, only because it connects very directly to Hollywood and pop culture through Harvey Weinstein, all of the monsters that people in this country used to idolize, sadly. Mm-hmm. After that, we are going to talk about Meghan Markle, because the world hates me today, and that means we have to talk about Meghan Markle. She made some comments about Kill Bill, which, as far as I'm concerned...
What?
Yes. You didn't see this?
No.
Not just Kill Bill, but also Austin Powers, Full Metal Jacket, etc.
Yes. So she has some comments about Orientalism and the fetishization of Asian women.
Are we allowed to say that? I don't even know.
Can she say that?
I don't know. She can say that.
Apparently she can.
Yeah. That's what it
Is
said.
she?
No, she's not.
No,
she's not
she's
Asian.
not
She had
at all.
Asian guests on her podcast, which
Okay.
allowed her to
All right.
speak on this issue.
Okay.
So
I
we're
thought
gonna-
maybe I slept too long and missed a few of the
you're
woke
good.
updates
Yeah,
or
no.
something.
No. So we're going to get into that, and then we got Podluck, we got a bunch of other stuff. So if
Whoa.
all four of you are ready, we will get right into it. Mary, are we ready?
We're ready.
Andy, are we ready?
I believe we're ready.
Lydia, are
I'm
we
ready. Let's go.
But before we get into the topics today, I want to give a quick shout out.
A reminder.
A reminder.
If you will.
I need to shill for our referral link, which is in the description today. We are trying to earn points in Jeremy's Razors competition for $250K in cash or his McLaren. And we made a referral link for you guys to use. You can get $12 off of a Jeremy's Razors founder kit and also 35% off of a Daily Wire Plus membership, or both if you feel so inclined. Please use it. It helps us earn points to win the competition. We could be the leader.
I also want to point out that I think what the best thing to do would be, after taxes, we split it a third, and then we each give a portion to a charity.
That's
of our
a
choice.
great
TBD,
idea.
what charity that would be. And I don't know how much we would have after tax.
Yeah, we would have
we
to
can estimate, but not
we
sure.
would have to figure out the number for
Probably
that,
like
and then
$40.
Yeah.
Help
Honestly,
like
Thanks,
small
government. Yeah.
upstart podcast.
Yeah.
We
That
would-
would be cool. Yeah.
we would have to give it. After like the really important charity takes all of it, and that's the government.
That
right?
is the
That's-
most
Yeah.
important.
So let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So it says, Marvel and Pfizer team up for COVID-19 vaccine advocacy comics starring the Avengers. It's every bit as disturbing sounding as you can imagine.
Ah.
So what I want you to picture is, back in the day, war propaganda comics were very, very common. But there's something just worse. There's something just like I somehow find the military-industrial complex less awful than hearing Pfizer do it. Like, at least the military is like, yeah, we're going overseas to
gonna
wreak
go
a bunch
kill
of havoc
people.
and do a bunch of
Yeah.
awful things. But these people are like, we're gonna help you be safe and effective right up until
insidious.
I think this is a perfect example of if something is free, you are the product.
Yes.
This Marvel comic, Everyday Heroes, is free and accessible on their website. Their other comics, believe it or not, they're not free. You have to buy access to them.
But is it safe and effective? That's what I want to know.
Well, it is. It's extremely safe. In fact, they can't be sued if anything goes wrong with the vaccine.
That's right.
So
I am reassured by that.
They even have a disclaimer at the bottom of the page that says, don't replace your healthcare provider's advice with this comic.
That's fair.
So it's unveiled by a biotech company. By the biotech company, what was the name of the company here? It was BioNTech.
Oh, we drove by there yesterday.
We did, yeah, we did.
So on October 4th, Avengers Everyday Hero centers on an unnamed family who, while waiting in the waiting room of a COVID-19 vaccination clinic, you couldn't even just send them to their general practitioners. You had to send them to the... I just remember, like, out here driving around, I won't give an exact location, but I remember the first time I saw an actual road sign that said vaccine clinic this way, I literally felt like we had fallen into, like, another timeline.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, I remember in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where I was at the time, there was, like, these vehicles would drive around the city, and they would say, stay inside. It was like a loudspeaker vehicle.
That is so dystopian.
Yeah. It would say, stay inside. Go back in your homes. Do not exit without a mask or breathing device.
It's Australia.
It was terrifying.
So they're in the vaccine clinic and they're waiting to get their boosters, and Ultron attacks. If you've seen, so now you can picture Ultron with James Spader's voice, and Ultron attacks and is wreaking havoc not 6 blocks away, as they're waiting for their shots. And upon hearing the news. And this is one of the worst written parts of it, but it says, the Paul Aller penned Paco Diaz illustrated story turns to the family's older son, who finds himself worrying aloud that the AI sentient could pose a threat to their safety. Don't worry, his little sister attempts to reassure him. Captain Marvel will protect us, because, of course, the big brother couldn't reassure the younger sister. The younger sister had to reassure.
She has to be younger, and it has to be a female.
Yes, and yes. Captain Marvel will protect us, she says, by the power of feminism.
I didn't read into it that way.
I absolutely. All those decisions matter. Like when you're storyboarding this out, this is storyboarded the same way they storyboard out movies, which means that was a very deliberate decision. You don't just draw these pictures next to each other and switch the speech bubbles because the angle for which the picture is drawn at is relevant to that.
Yeah.
So no, this was absolutely planned. Do I think that this guy has an agenda? Actually, yeah, probably. He probably does. But that's besides the point. That's not even the important one of this. This is we're not even to the COVID-19 of it all. That's right, exclaimed the grandfather, turning to draw a parallel between Ultron and the COVID-19 virus. Just like the Avengers have done so many times before, Ultron keeps coming back, keeps changing and evolving, so the Avengers keep adapting and re-strategizing, and they knock him back again and again. So they are the booster shots of superheroes. That is what they are.
This is making my brain hurt. Why are you doing this to me,
I
Brett?
apologize.
It's awful.
We haven't even gotten to like the pictures.
No.
Like the pictures, it's like they've got the masks. It's at the clinic.
Just like the floppy fabric masks, too.
The thing here is also, if this had come out in 2020, I would have batted less of an eye.
Right. Still be annoying.
It would still be annoying and very propagandistic, but it's very much...
The fact that it's this late in the game does say a lot, but we also don't know how long this was in the planning process, or like 20 or so people involved, right?
They might have taken Pfizer's money long ago and had to complete it.
That's kind of what it looks like.
This isn't the first time that they've that Marvel has been commissioned to make a comic about vaccine advocacy.
Nope.
They also did that last year as well.
There's just something to like, it's the name brand. Like if they had just made it themselves and a coalition of companies had done it and you like didn't know which companies were doing it, it's knowing that it's Pfizer. It would be even funnier if they were like, don't get the Moderna shot. And all of the
like an intercivil war between vaccine makers.
The Skrulls have
Moderna.
Yeah, the Skrulls have infiltrated Moderna and are poisoning their vaccine. You can only get the Pfizer vaccine if you want to be safe. Like we are from Ultron because of all of the Avengers protecting us. Like that would actually be kind of cool. If they threw shade at another pharmaceutical company, I'd actually think that was pretty, that'd be pretty funny.
That would be hilarious.
I hate to be the one to point it out, but of course the patriarch telling them about when Ultron first appeared has to be a different race than the rest of his family.
Yes.
Very interesting that they purposefully added that detail.
They're like overtime virtue signaling with this. This is like blowing my mind.
Says, asked by his grandson, and they use new tools to help. The elderly man makes reference to Vision, noting another robot that first time, and it was working for a while. Remember, the safe and effective has an expiration date.
That's so convenient.
This is what happens when you let the HR people into the writer's room.
Yes.
That's a great point. That's exactly what this is.
As the battle continues to rage on, in an effort to reassure his family, the grandfather continues to regale them with stories of the Avengers' past victories over Ultron, until eventually Iron Man puts an end to the situation with an ionized energy cannon. Yes, but was that safe and effective? I must know.
That might be still a metaphor for the vaccine anyway.
Where do the metaphors end is what I'm curious here.
I didn't hate the part about the grandpa working for the Avengers in the past. That was actually kind of a neat twist. I mean, as neat twists go in propaganda. Propaganda.
Computer standards real low.
Pharma comics.
I'm waiting for the epilogue where they find out that the Avengers were never meant to prevent Ultron from attacking.
They're just meant to like keep him at bay for a little while.
They were meant to minimize the destruction that Ultron is able to wreak upon society.
Maybe Zemo fed him like digital bats.
Did they release a physical copy of this?
Looks like it's only online. You don't have an ability to purchase it on the Marvel website.
So the Avengers return triumphantly from the clash with Ultron, passed by the grandfather's room. Why are they in the hospital? I'm sorry. Why are they returning triumphantly to a COVID-19 vaccination room?
Well, yeah, the panel where they're walking into the double doors with the nurse, it just feels creepy because it's completely dark in there.
Yeah.
And they're all just filing in like cattle.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Maybe I'm biased, but they could have done better at making that seem less seedy.
So they mentioned, well, that's like when I see like an individual green road sign that says vaccine clinic this way, and there's nothing else on there, and the sign's all muddy. It's like I get like Resident Evil vibes. So it says his family is shocked when he reveals that he was once a member of Damage Control, and as such regularly found himself working side by side with the Avengers in the aftermaths of their many fights. He says, and that's how I know that we can fight back against even tough, ever-evolving enemies. If we're willing to adapt, fight back, and take steps to help protect yourself.
So go figure, Pfizer is promoting this comic on Twitter, and with all of the negative replies they're receiving, they're choosing to hide them. That feature is such an interesting one on Twitter because
you can do that on Twitter now?
Yeah.
Obviously people are going to click on the word that says like hidden replies.
That's the first thing I click.
It's such a Streisand effect. I'm surprised that they kept that feature after
definitely
trying it
fail
out
on their social media.
Everyone looks at the hidden replies first.
Right. That's where the juicy stuff is.
Exactly.
If you want to limit conversation, you can limit replies, and then people can't like comment under it. But what happens then is you get a steamroll effect of freaking
it
quote
long.
tweets.
Remember when quote tweets, you weren't able to like click on it and see the quote tweets? Mm-hmm. They just
they added
weren't
that
listed at all.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they added that.
So they did.
It opens up the conversation a lot more.
I think it's great.
They're receiving a lot of backlash, obviously.
Good. I have to show them this picture because it is the most. It's just disgusting to me. Like they're like you see all of their very clear band-aids covering their recent booster shots as the Avengers pose. I don't know why they're posing on a stage. And then Tony Stark says, by staying up to date with COVID-19 vaccinations.
And then he soy faces into the distance.
Dude, he's doing like the pointing
with
soy
a Band-Aid
thing
on his arm.
It's just
he's very proud of himself.
It's not like propaganda's new to government like infiltrating media.
What I find curious about it is like all of the indoctrinated MCU stans are already vaccinated and boosted anyway. So how is this propaganda going to increase the numbers of boosted patients?
I mean, do they have a cap on how many you can get?
There was one guy who got like 80, which was
no
hilarious.
cap.
No cap.
You can just
right?
keep
no
going.
cap.
So just keep
Kizzy.
Yeah.
when I've read a couple of
yourself
articles recently that we've covered. One was the Bill Hader one where he wore a mask to an award show.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's immunocompromised.
Sure, fine.
And the comment section was one of the most delusional. Like,
I love those places.
It was
They're
like
so fun.
IndieWire itself being one of the more delusional of the culture websites.
Yeah.
Like one of them was like, I'm not saying that I want people to die if they don't get their vaccine, but I'm just saying, thin the herd.
Well, the situation with Bill Hader wearing a mask to an award show at this stage in the game, I feel speaks to his character more than anything.
He's
because
immunocompromised, so he had to,
yeah, but
what is it, a serious thing? Or
I
is
mean,
it like
literally anyone
he's got
can say
Crohn's
that. If you
disease or
don't,
something?
if you don't want to put your immune system at risk, then wouldn't you just not go to a large event with hundreds of people?
You would think so.
Who are unmasked, right? It's about posturing, and he was just accused. And indirectly by Anna Kendrick of being an abusive partner.
What?
So of course he's desperate to virtue signal.
Yeah.
And one of the posts
Strategic.
under this, like in the I don't remember if it was the Twitter, if it was in the actual comment section. This was a quote picture of a tweet that said like, "Wait, so you're telling me putting our masks on until we sat down at restaurants didn't work?"
Yeah,
Like-
it did work for sure. Guys, what we're seeing here is not just propaganda, because I was thinking about this over the course of the last 20 seconds. This is the embodiment of a monopoly, because this is the government working with a single company or a series of companies to make sure that something happens. And from my understanding of economics, from Henry Hazlitt's Economic in One Lesson, everyone should read it, by the way, is that's how you define a monopoly, which is disturbing. So it's not just propaganda, it's something deeper. It seems to me more insidious than propaganda.
Also, I'm waiting for like Pfizer should just. They've got money. Just start their own comic company. Start Pfizer Comics.
Pfizer Comics.
And Pfizer Lifestyle Clothing. And like they should just
I'm sure they could.
It's like when they rebrand like a superhero as a different race or something, or as a different gender. It's like, this is just, get your own comic heroes.
Yeah. It's an interesting
like
development,
right?
Because
Man,
superheroes traditionally, at least my impression, is superhero stories have been about overcoming the corruption in the institutions, like law enforcement, like in big science and big pharma, and superseding those institutions to help the common man. Whereas in this story, we're seeing the superheroes in direct collaboration with those institutions toward the same goals. And it's sort of a subversion of the whole genre.
Also, it's really funny. Like one common theme in comics. I mean, it's not spelled out directly that way. Is like it's a lot of like the just because you can doesn't mean you should when it comes to science and technology. Meaning like they make all these developments. Tony Stark had a lot of regret at one point for the military weapons that he built, and a lot of science. I think back to like Silas Stone in DC. Like there is a lot of questioning about just because we can create something doesn't mean we should. And there's absolutely none of that hesitation in something like this, because they're not choosing. It's not an artist choosing what they want to say. It's Pfizer telling them what they have to say because they were paid a certain amount of money to it. So you could say it's late stage capitalism.
No, comics is
good. It's actually, or is this actually no? Because this is government and Pfizer. So technically, it's late stage cronyism.
Yeah, exactly.
Corporatism.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Comics is such a good place for philosophy, because you give your characters a chance to reflect on past choices they made, and people like that because they're super into the lore or whatever. Awesome, great. I'm not a super comic person, but when you impose something like Pfizer's branding, you lose everything. So this is just more corporatization, which is just so depressing. I'm so done with it.
Also,
if it was generic, that would be different.
Yeah.
It should be pointed out that the people that are reading this are it's not kids that are reading this. There's no kids reading this. It's 35-year-old to 45-year-old and up white dudes.
Prolonged childhood.
That's like the clapter.
No.
Like,
I mean, I guess the target market would be the ever expanding pool of protracted adolescence, right?
Yeah.
But I guess good comics would be they've spent the last 15 years trying to find their phantom audience, but I don't know who the audience is for this.
I mean, do children even read comics anymore?
I don't think
it's kind of
they
a
do.
35-year-old, nerd.
Comics
thing
aren't
now.
really part of.
I don't know.
So people who are reading
today.
this, and it's not convincing anybody that's already convinced.
Anybody who actually picked this up and read it is already getting their vaccination, and more power
Probably
to them.
in
But
the
it is
booster waiting room.
the weird corporatization, the weird implementation of like very clear, like they're talking ways the characters would never talk. That's my favorite part. Is like that every word that I read sounded like a CEO said it in a press release, not like an actual human being said it.
It's HR man.
Like,
only one person is credited
HR
with
man.
writing the script, which I just can't
superhero.
believe.
if you're
It sounds like it was written in a writer's room of like 10 plus contributors.
or it was
managers.
ghost written by a PR person at
Yeah.
Pfizer,
Yep.
most likely. So that, like, here it says, if you're willing to adapt, fight back, and take steps to help protect yourself, it's also important for entire communities to come together and help fight the threat. That's something a CEO says. That's not something that an actual living, breathing human being
That's
says.
a PR person or an HR
Yeah.
person wrote that.
Exactly.
We need more synchronicity.
Thank you.
To accomplish more of our business goals.
I would have imagined that this comic would more synergy.
That's all the
more
that's all the
synergy.
business talk. Yeah,
More
there you go.
synergy.
Yeah.
Like if they said that and then you say, let's just see who you really are, mister, and you pull it off and it's the Pfizer CEO underneath.
Yeah.
Would have gotten away for it.
I've got away with it,
It wasn't
too,
you,
yeah.
synergy man.
If it wasn't for you, anti-vaxxer.
Okay.
So can we say that? I don't know if you can say that.
Yeah. They're relaxing it a little bit.
Okay.
It's old man anti-vax Johnson.
That's right.
That's
I mean, I'm just more interested in what this means for Marvel and comics in general, because obviously it's no longer part of anyone's childhood anymore. Like, this isn't going to be nostalgic for the children who are growing up today. And then also the
Superheroes,
adults who look to comics for their entertainment now are getting alienated by the propaganda.
there are young people reading manga.
But I feel that's different because there are more standalone stories and not large franchises with like this
Do they have
multiverse
manga,
concept.
like
If
propaganda?
If they do, I don't know anything about it.
That's something that like a lot of anime and manga fans say, is that they enjoy that genre simply because, or at least in large part because it's immune from all of the Western propaganda and
Not
Western
Americanized.
sensibilities.
Not
Bad.
play those games.
At least so far, it's not affected by those things.
Or they have their own brand of propaganda.
Yeah, they have,
they
like,
do have
different-
propaganda, but
yeah.
it's it's a refreshing change, I'm sure.
A slightly different.
What if it
propaganda.
was Thanos who poisoned all of the shots, and that's how he ended up?
my
That's like,
Gosh.
he could have everyone who got it, like
Half the people that get the
are
vaccine die?
No, all the ones, like the half that went away were the people that ended up getting the
Don't you think Endgame was kind of unintentionally
profound.
profound and like insightful about the population control narrative?
People are comparing Thanos to Bill Gates.
That's
in the chat for sure. And I'm
well,
like,
in the
that's
comics,
not
if I
right.
remember correctly, he did it for a female. He did it for Lady Death.
No doubt.
So he was toxic masculinity personified,
Yeah, look at that.
trying to
Yeah,
impress a
but
woman.
without
me too.
intending it, which is the only way that anything in entertainment is insightful these days. They did shed light on a propaganda that's spread about.
So like the story, it came up because they're one of their
Because they talk
candlelight
about
universal
killing
world
large
domination.
swaths of people so often.
He's like, that gives me a great idea. like
They get into the writer's room.
they were at one of their like
Yeah.
taking over the world meetings, with like the perpetually burning flame and the monks
That's
with
what
the
award
robes.
shows are.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
really is.
Like the
Leaders of the world
come
meeting
together.
over champagne,
so
talking about their shared goals.
Yeah.
if you guys want to pick this comic up, I recommend.
Do it.
Like the sales
Funny.
just go through. Yeah. It says-
Well, it would be more understandable if they were selling it for a profit, but because it's free on their website, you can tell that
You're the product.
You are the product.
Yeah. Good observation.
Simply by clicking.
My favorite comment is the jokes on Pfizer. Nobody reads Marvel comics anymore.
That's
just,
fair.
that is what it is. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, is this like the worst of all the? Do you remember? Vax that ass up? Anybody?
Yeah,
that was great.
Nobody?
I don't want to remember.
I was just happy.
Can you not make me remember
I
that?
just reminded you of it.
Juvenile.
Oh yeah, Juvenile. Yeah.
But that was for a dating app. That was for a dating app that they made that. Oh yeah.
What was the dating app called?
I don't remember.
You're a really pretty lady.
This is where you lose with the propagandistic advertisements. Like nobody is going to remember the actual product you're advertising. No. They're going to remember the message you were trying to send with it.
But there was the creepy dancing syringes.
Yes, was that Colbert?
That was Colbert.
Wasn't that Bill Nye though?
No,
Bill Nye had a whole other thing that he did.
Sure.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Talking about like, I don't know, Hollywood, STDs or something.
Oh gosh.
Well, no wonder Hollywood is like they just made so much money off of COVID. Like they just renewed their COVID protocols for another year, or might be another 6 months
in California.
Good
luck to them.
So you're just like, there's too much money to be made. Like that lady who worked on Dahmer won't have a job if she doesn't have.
There was a production assistant on the Dahmer show on Netflix who complained that she was treated horribly on set and racially abused because they called her the same name as the other black production assistants on set.
They didn't know her,
even though there were hundreds of people there.
You know, prosopagnosia is a real
it's a serious
affliction.
Problem. That's fair.
Andy knows,
and you're representing that.
That's right.
But you've worked you've worked on productions. If you're a production assistant, you don't have a name.
No,
you have a name. You have less than a name. Your name is
like a number.
You there. That's your name.
Yeah.
You all have the same name. In fact, in solidarity,
your name is Mocha Grande.
Yeah. Half calf. Yeah.
Your name is Hey You There.
Yeah.
So it's So she
was a production assistant
who was hired.
Yep.
No, well she was.
I felt unseen.
She was actually the COVID-19 testing
protocol
officer. So she was required for sticking swabs into people's noses, and then wondered why nobody liked her.
I mean.
Maybe they did the China method, and that's why nobody liked her.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Even worse.
Okay.
I mean, it's more accurate.
Let's go to Super Chats.
Scientific.
Okay.
You gotta trust the science.
That's right.
Waffle Sensei said, if Mary promises to return a shopping cart and post it, then all crisis actors will promise to follow Sour Patch Lids on Twitter.
Oh, Mary, you have to do it.
I'm pretty sure they all already follow you on Twitter.
Pretty good overlap, yeah. Twitter.
Potatoes for Seamus said, I second that, Waffle Sensei.
Do it.
Hobbit said, third that, Waffles.
Oh my, we've got a whole chain here.
What is...
And Shards of Narsil said, Mary, don't give in to the peer pressure. Leave carts wherever you want to.
I said that.
I'm so conflicted right now.
I said that if we win the Daily...
want?
I said that if we win the Daily Wire thing, you have to at least go put back a couple of carts at a store.
In Matt Walsh's honor. Yeah, you have to.
In Matt Walsh's honor.
Yeah, that's his
thing. Is that one of his...
That's his thing, dude.
Values, his core values is returning carts.
We're living in a society. That's
we live
that's true,
in a
It's
society.
the linchpin.
Yeah, exactly.
And carts, the carts are the glue that hold us together. Or is the corral the glue that holds us together?
I think it was the friends that we made along the way.
Can we get a confirm on this? I don't know if I believe this.
It's true. You can take my word on it.
Gamer2X said, we needed to come back, if only to see a flustered Hannah Claire watching you cry your eyes out as Beanie Mary laughed maniacally, DC boy. Make mine Marvel.
I'm calling BS on that because I handled yesterday beautifully, so you can kick rocks.
Wow. He totally didn't throw things at us.
No.
And
or
scream at us.
Get back to your seats.
Center Conservative Mom 98 said, Lydia, you're one of my favorite humans ever. Sad to see you go, but we'll continue to follow along.
Yes.
You're a bright light in a dark world. Much love.
Well, stay tuned, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited for the future. It's gonna
maybe
be good.
the world will burn just a little brighter.
Because of me? That's very insightful. Thank you,
because of both of you.
Yeah, just set the world on fire. That's great.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Colt said, didn't Marvel do this last year with the promise of a free cheeseburger from McDonald's if the Tubby Tubs get vaxxed?
I remember that.
Also, R.I.P. Lydia, you'll be missed.
I'm not dying. You guys are still going to be able to follow me. I'm going to be doing cool stuff.
There was at one point vaccine clinics set up at like McDonald's, right? That was a thing.
At McDonald's, I don't remember that.
You could get like a free Big Mac.
But if you showed your card, you could get.
I could have sworn there was one that actually set it up.
A free donut or something.
I think it was a free Big Mac if you got your vax, and they had them in the stores in some places.
Yes, like you could like either out front of the store or in the store. Like just a minute. Now that would be way cooler if they brought back like the Hamburglar chairs. And like
that'd be fun. I might be tempted to do that. Yeah.
Like you
can
the
worst part of this whole thing.
It just has hidden vaccines.
This,
it's not good.
Yeah, the real consequence of this pandemic has been the closing of fast food places.
I agree. That is the real pandemic.
Why can't parents eat their fast food in peace?
And just bathrooms everywhere. Like you can't go to the bathroom. You have to go to the bathroom at home.
There's and no more 24-hour stores.
Right?
Never again.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like
Waffle House.
Most of my experiences with the bad things in life came at Walmart at 2 a.m, as it should.
Yeah, as most people's do.
Most bad things that I've seen, done, or been involved with in my life have been at a Walmart, and it's never been at a time before 2 or 3.
Very late at night.
It was a great excuse for a lot of people to do a lot of things that they didn't feel like doing. Like most people that if they could work at home, they started working from home.
Yeah.
As a result of the pandemic. Oh no, I can't go in. All those germs.
I can't come to work. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you ever bought anything you actually needed from Walmart at 2 a.m, unless you worked nights.
Everything I buy there, I need.
Okay, yeah, that's not true. Fact check on that one. No. I used to work night shift, and I would always go in at like 4 a.m. It was great.
Well, that's the people who work that shift. If it doesn't line up with your actual work schedule.
I would go in the middle of the night.
And did you buy stuff you needed?
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm calling fake news on all of this.
Fake news,
you don't
everyone.
usually have an emergency at that time.
You guys are ignoring my lived experience, and frankly, I find it offensive.
Okay,
it's
all right.
invalidating.
Brett's incredulousness is you're
incredulosity.
making him feel unseen.
If you will.
We should just make up words all the time. Incredulosity is my new favorite.
Yeah.
Andrew Minks said, on the topic of Marvel, they made a one-shot comic where Asgard had its first Pride Parade.
We know that, Andrew. We love that, Andrew.
They do the.
We know Andrew. He's the new guy.
Yeah, he's the new Andy.
He's replacing me.
Yeah. They do a lot of like whole runs during Pride Month. That's a market.
Par for the
like
course.
That there's at least, you could say, like, it's a small market, but there's at least a market there. There's no vaccine comic market. That's not a thing.
Somebody says set Pfizer's to stun. Somebody else says beam me up, Shotty. I love these. I love chat. It's my favorite place.
Check this chat.
Caper2X said, we will miss you,
place.
Sour Patch Kids.
You can still follow me, and you should.
Gross John said, the pandemic was a big hit. I heard they're already working on the sequel. And the spin-off and the prequel.
Pandemic 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Can't wait. Waffle Sensei said, actually, Ultron is the vaccine, not COVID. Ultron was meant to be a new innovative technology created by Tony Stark to help society. Fill in the rest.
What does that mean?
Ultron is nuclear energy. And
this is my first. What is this? What's happening?
It's a crisis party.
It's a party. You're supposed to dance.
This can't be your first.
Really? Yes, you're supposed to dance.
No.
Anyone wearing red has to dance.
Wait, when was the last time you were on?
Before
we were live?
Really
I think I just was so boring that nobody.
Everyone's like, yeah.
No, I don't think we had crisis parties set up yet. I was on pretty early.
Thank you.
Your shock is
Thank you,
gorgeous.
guys.
I love it.
Wow.
Thanks, guys.
Walker Texas Danger said, I'm fully vaccinated against cringe, but somehow knowing this comic exists is causing me pain.
Same, bro.
That's what we're here. We're here to bring you the cringe.
Greg Duvier said, how much of a super chat do I need to give to get you to stay with all things Timcast?
$100 million.
I view this as like an expansion of Timcast because we're still going to be doing super fun stuff, creating
expansion
content.
of the Timcast cinematic universe.
That's right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, don't even joke about that.
Gosh.
Unknown said, out with Dead Comics MCU, hail the Rippaverse.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get an ISOM numbered comic where he talks about vaccines. I don't think that's.
I don't think so either. No. Thank goodness.
James Orenthal Wen said, manga anime has minimal wokeism because the content is largely culturally Japanese, which are helpful immersion tools for my mixed Japanese-American kids.
Perfect.
Best wishes and farewell to the Sour Patch Couple.
Sour Patch Couple.
Sour
I like
Patch
it.
Couple.
I
The
like
Sour
it.
Patches. Yes, that's what they call us.
Let's read one more, and then we will save. We will move on to topic 2, and then we will save.
Okay, Nathan Settlemeyer said, remember the Dare cartoon special in the 90s? Classic.
Same energy.
I don't remember.
Don't love it.
Yeah, Mary would love to remember. She would have loved to. Not really.
I mean, I went to private school anyway, so they didn't do that stuff.
I mean, it's like we can bring back Stranger Danger. Remember Stranger Danger?
That was good. That was wholesome. Okay.
Yeah, we might.
You want to get
Well,
kidnapped?
no, like I heard
They went a little overboard with it.
Stranger Danger ended up doing way more damage because most kidnappings end up being from a family or
People
relative, so it ended up
yeah.
hurting the community rather than helping it.
And kids want to stay away, or people want to stay away from kids now because they're
Yeah.
afraid that they're going to be perceived as a stranger. So all the good people are doing that, and all the bad people are snatching the kids.
Oh, good point.
All right, we are going to move on, and we are going to talk about, now that we've had sufficient fun, let's talk about something thoroughly depressing, which is, yes, I know, the implosion of the Me Too movement in the Time's Up organization.
Wait, this sounds great.
That sounds great to you?
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
go on.
well, let's get into it. So it says Hollywood's most famous advocacy group is now a leaderless ghost organization undone by conflicts of interest and a straight-up conflicts while it collapsed in what might emerge to supplant it.
I'm so sad.
The only thing that was ever meaningful about Time's Up is that they had a legal defense fund.
Yes, that was be the first thing I mentioned. They actually they got it says
they raised $22 million
to help 6,000 people
to pay the legal fees for alleged victims of sexual assault, and also like they paid for
330 people's court expenses.
You said 22 million?
Yep.
Yeah.
22 million.
Divided by how many?
That fund,
crunch those numbers real fast. Holy
How many
crap.
people?
it's valuable because it's ongoing and it operates independently of Time's Up, regardless of where their leadership ends up. Like if their parent organization were to die off and no longer exist, the fund would still exist because of the laws about 501c3 nonprofits.
And this is relevant because this was born out of Harvey Weinstein's scandal and all of the bad people that exist in Hollywood that are literally the reason that all the normal people now get labeled as bad people, because everyone in Hollywood that has a platform thinks that their life experience equates outward to everyone else's life experience. So these women deal with a bunch of just awful men in positions of power, but then they extrapolate that to mean that, like, for some reason all men are like that. Or they don't work very hard to differentiate between capital M men and the men that are unique in that position that make up less than 1% of the actual population of men, which is men in positions of extreme power.
Yeah, that's why I feel that Me Too, in relation to the entertainment industry, was always controlled opposition. Like, it was... At some point, people called for Me Too to cover other industries like tech, like agriculture, politics, academia, etc.
They could have franchised outwards. Me Too
It couldn't
tech.
have worked because it was always about publicity for them, and it was always about Hollywood's office politics.
Yep.
And them exacting revenge on people that they disliked for other reasons than them being like morally corrupt and abusive.
This article leans heavily into just how cynical you would actually be if you understood how corporatized and how profit focused they were running organizations like this.
They quoted Alison Turcos, who's she is an activist for sexual assault survivors. They said, you have to be able to look someone in the eye who maybe wrote you a check and say, we have to have a hard conversation. Instead, money and power took over everything, and their mission drifted into seeing how many powerful people they could get at a lunch table.
That's interesting.
Which happens to a lot of different activist organizations, not just Me Too. It becomes about the galas and the publicity and seeming like you're a good person. You're more attached to the image of it than the real cause.
There was a group that called out the fact that they were taking lavish vacations to plan their stuff in Hawaii, Hawaii. Like, why do you need to go to Hawaii to?
Because it's a write-off.
5 stars, because it's a write-off. I also want to point out that it's very interesting that they talk about how power corrupted. It's very interesting that such a term as power corrupted them into doing things that weren't necessarily good. The same argument would have been made about the people that they're calling out, right? That they let the power go to their head, which led to them exploiting their power for their own benefit.
What happened to them? Power corrupted them, but the men were corrupt as a result of power, and it was somehow they had the agency over it.
Right,
There's
exactly.
a differentiation.
There's a difference, yeah, because ladies don't have agency. We know that.
If during the height of Me Too you were aware of these corrupting influences, you probably would have predicted this would happen anyway. Like, if you watch the Golden Globes of 2018, which is I just learned on New Year's Day every year. I didn't know that. They were all joking about like what's been happening the last few months and how like no man is safe, and they're all supposed to be shaking in their seats wondering why their name is getting called. And it was endorsed by the likes of Reese Witherspoon and Oprah Winfrey, big name donors, big names, everyone dressing in black to be in solidarity in the public eye.
There was also another big name attached to it named Andrew Cuomo. Do you remember him?
Right. Yeah. So
whatever happened to him?
Yeah, what was that
guy? So the
certain
implosion...
leaders in Time's Up were found to have advised Andrew Cuomo in the wake of his sexual harassment allegations.
Guys, I have to remind you that he's not perverted. He's just Italian.
Yeah.
Okay, he's Italian.
It's a common mistake.
It's very easy to get them confused.
They advised against supporting the victims coming forward, which should have destroyed their credibility instantly. It took a little bit longer than that, but they didn't want to. Do you remember Asia Argento as well? Anthony Bourdain, the one who had the relationship with the 17-year-old boy, but said that she didn't. She said that I just paid him money because his acting career wasn't taking off, which is somehow both insulting and creepily predatory. So they proved themselves over and over to be just as corrupt as the men they were attacking, just in a different way. Actually, Asia Argento's wasn't in all that different of a way, but the board members, what was her name? Roberta Kaplan.
After
resigned.
this scandal with Andrew Cuomo, Time's Up bleeds so many staffers and executives and board members and donors that they've come to their current point where they have no CEO. They have 3 remaining board members. They're not offering comment to any news publications because they claim they're going through a total restructuring of their organization.
No financial documents with the IRS since 2020. And so I ask, what's changed? Did COVID? I mean, beyond just what the corruption. Like, did the public just lose interest? Did they overstep?
I think it's possible that they overstepped and they scared people with legitimate concerns. This is what ticks me off about this kind of thing. The issue isn't that you came forward about something that happened to you. The issue is that you're prioritizing yourself over people who had it much worse. Yeah. And you're delegitimizing their complaints and you're making people less interested in what they have to say.
I don't think there's anybody out there really that's like mad that actual rapists are getting what's coming to them.
Right. Literally no one.
It's just when they're it seems like they're grasping at straws. It's like there was somebody misread nonverbal communication cues.
Right, like Aziz Ansari. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the Legal Defense Fund, which is housed and administered separately from the National Women's Law Center in Washington, D.C., has connected more than 6,000 sexual harassment victims with lawyers and paid the legal fees in 330 cases, providing publicity support for 130 cases and continuing to take new ones. That's like the good part. What I want to point out here is like whenever we hear about organizations like this, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's any advocacy group, no matter what side of the aisle you operate on, no matter what you believe, I want to know what the tangible things you have accomplished are that give me reason to want to continue to support your cause. right? You can point me to those examples, and sure, 6,000 sounds like a lot, and 330 sounds like a lot of cases, but 22 million is a hell of a lot more than all of that.
And where is the money? I get that it's being managed by another organization now, based in D.C., but I mean, you could have made that legal defense fund without it being attached to a parent organization anyway. And now that parent organization has nothing else to say for itself.
This just seems like a Black Lives Matter all over again. It's just a scam at the end of the day. Like, I'm glad that they did something with it that's, I think, better than what Black Lives Matter did with it, which was basically buy themselves big fancy houses and cause trouble. And they're just taking a page out of their book. And, I mean, get while the getting's good or something, but this is literally just a scam.
But
it's great charity work if you can get it.
If you can get it,
right?
But it proves the absolute business nature of activism now. That it's no longer about actually accomplishing anything. It's about oddly enough about capitalism.
Well, because it was started by celebrities who, as we all know, are narcissists. Obviously, it was never going to have a real-world impact, and they aren't willing to acknowledge that Hollywood, the entertainment industry, has a particularly egregious problem with predatory behavior more than other industries. They aren't willing to scrutinize themselves adequately. They come out with stories for publicity only, as we've seen from, like, Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then they discredit their own claims, their own possibly legitimate claims for justice.
This isn't even one of those cases where, like, a lot of times you hear about an organization has to justify their existence, right, by continuing to find problems where they
exist to propagate themselves.
It's not like Hollywood has any shortage of people that are perverted.
Of course.
Like, that's not
and
a
to
thing.
this day, that is a continued problem, if not a worse problem than it was at the end of 2017.
Kevin Spacey's going on trial for one of 4 Me Too assault allegations this week.
Yep.
Guys, this is just a blind for the actual problem in Hollywood. We all know, and we aren't going to say what the actual problem is in Hollywood. It's not with adult ladies. We'll put it that way. It's a very
That's why it was
problem.
controlled off.
It's just it's just distraction. I think
it was never meant to come after the real criminals in this situation. Now both are a problem, obviously.
Right.
I watched a video a while back, and I wish I had checked it out before this. Where it was a guy who does a breakdown of a bunch of TV shows that do like child trafficking episodes and then mysteriously get canceled.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
like really ooh, and then for no reason the ratings were fine and everybody loved the show, and then they're just like, sorry, you can't do that anymore. You're done.
Yep.
Like
that's exactly
Hollywood, man.
Dude,
Blake Lively is one celebrity who's spoken out a lot about child trafficking and child pornography.
She seems very cool. She's one of my favorite celebrities.
Is it Rose Byrne that came out?
Oh, Rose.
Wow.
What is her name?
Is that her?
Was it Rose Byrne?
The girl from Damages. Wow.
No, I don't know. Is it her?
Her name's Rose
McGowan.
McGowan.
Is she the one who she was like part of a...
Rose McGowan. You're thinking of Rose Byrne was the chick from Damages with Glenn Close.
It's like, oh, that's a deep cut.
I was like, I just stopped for like in my tracks.
She was in a cult. Right?
Oh, Rose McGowan?
Is that Rose McGowan?
No, she was Epstein.
There was a Rose.
There was a Rose. There was a Rose.
The one from the one that was on
she came out.
Smallville.
How she was in a cult and now she's coming out against
Leah Remini.
Oh, Leah
that
Remini.
One?
No, that's the Scientology cult one.
Well, Rose McGowan came out against her fellow against Alyssa Milano. That might be who you're thinking of.
No, it was somebody who was in a cult. Okay. She was in a legitimate cult, and then she came out. She was
the NM, the sex cult thing.
Maybe
Nvidia. That's the girl from Smallville.
Is there a Rose in there?
I feel like
now
I'm
we gotta
taking
look
us
it
down.
up. You're taking us down a weird path here,
Maybe it
Andy.
wasn't a rose.
What's going on? Like a different flower. It was like a petunia.
She has like short hair now.
Oh, that was Rose McGowan. I think that's your confusion.
She was in a legitimate cult, whoever I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Somebody must know.
Allison Mack was the one that was in Nvidia.
Okay. Maybe Chat can tell us. I will defer
From the secret
to Chat.
world of
Check
Alex
the chat. Who
Allison
are they
Mack
talking
was
about?
in the cult.
Allison
Mack. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Rose McGowan. Rose being Bryce. I don't know.
I can't believe you. I was like, how do you know who the hell Rose Byrne is?
No, it's a name
Everyone should go watch Damages if you haven't seen Damages. By the way, it's fantastic. All right. So, what? if we were to be charitable and to pretend like it wasn't a corrupted organization that just wanted to take vacations on the back of female suffering, what would be a path forward for them that would actually reinstate? It might not instill confidence from us, who tend to be very cynical because we read the news all day, every day. What would be a way they could win back public interest?
The fundamental difficulty with any kind of advocacy group like that is if you're doing it like the noble way, your job is to effectively put yourself out of the job. You want to eliminate the problem that you're here to solve.
And who does that?
It's hard to have an organization that's not,
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, until there are people in Hollywood who are willing to sacrifice some money and some notoriety for the truth, we're not going to see a real change. I think Ricky Gervais is an example of that. And while I was researching this topic, compared Seth Meyers' Golden Globes hosting a speech to Ricky Gervais in 2020, just 2 years after Me Too happened, and also right before COVID happened, by the way. Ricky Gervais made everyone at the Golden Globes extremely uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. The speeches that were given about Me Too at the Golden Globes in 2018 made no one uncomfortable because they all felt that they were a united front, even if that was fake. Ricky Gervais called out Harvey Weinstein. He called out Jeffrey Epstein and
Apple too,
and big tech.
Yeah.
And he made genuinely funny but genuinely subversive jokes that Seth Meyers was not capable of making because of the fact that Me Too was controlled opposition. It didn't actually threaten the people who were really in power.
That's why everyone was united.
And Ricky Gervais actually, he was asked to comment on Seth Meyers' job at hosting the Golden Globes in 2018, and because he had hosted it 4 times before Seth Meyers ever did, and he said, "Well, if I had been chosen this year, it would have been the end of my career because there are so many sensitive topics to joke about, and he can't resist." And then 2 years later, when they chose him, that's exactly what he did, and in their eyes, he ended his career. He didn't actually; he's still able to make money, but they would have never, I don't think that they're going to invite him to host the Golden Globes ever again because of what he said in 2020. Yep. And it just shows like who really is being targeted by these jokes and who's really punching down or punching up. Ricky Gervais is attacked so much as a comedian because he makes jokes that supposedly punch down. And I think he's actually doing the exact opposite by making jokes at the expense of the Weinsteins, the Epsteins, and also the corrupt leaders of Me Too. Mm-hmm.
Well, good for him, honestly, because this needed to be exposed. And it must have been terrifying to him to be the only person there, to know that everybody there had so much influence and so much money, and to know that he was going up against every single one of them because they were all in lockstep about this. They're like, okay, this is how we're covering all the real problems in Hollywood. We're going to pretend it's this. We're going to pretend men are the problem and women are all victims. It's going to be great. We got this. And then along comes Ricky Gervais. He's like, no, I don't think so. Like, seriously.
Like, especially with Epstein. Here's a story of like 2 overpowered people, a man and a woman, working in collaboration to abuse minors. Mm-hmm. Like, that is not the Me Too story. That's not the trendy expose.
That's not a very sexy story.
No, especially not after what happened with Asia Argento.
When Ricky Gervais made jokes about that, they all laughed in a way that genuinely seemed that they were uncomfortable and they knew it was true.
Do you remember Adam Driver's face when that happened?
Yep.
He had like a genuine smile because he is like actually an upright guy. Everyone else, Tom Hanks, was like, whoa, deer in the headlights. Super
I'm moving
weird.
To Greece.
Yeah, time for me to check out of here.
Well,
like, hey, we can pretend to stir the pot, but don't actually
there's a line,
come for the real people at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Tom Hanks was just thinking about how much he loved Chet Hanks, and that was what kept him going.
Yeah. I want to bring up, by the way, remember like Tom Hanks in Big, where he literally played a child having sex with an adult?
A very long time ago.
Isn't that weird?
Did that happen?
That is very weird. I'm gonna have to
Wait, they had sex in the movie?
People don't remember that.
I don't know.
He, like, the whole point of the movie is that he is like mentally a child, and then
he's doing adult things.
But age
does
is just
adult
a number,
things
right?
with an
So
adult.
That's what they say.
I've been told
in the movie,
yeah.
and everyone is supposed to act like that shit is normal.
It was a
It's
different time,
Nope,
they say. That's
not
what they're
normal.
saying. It was a different time.
Not normal.
YouTube, please don't delete us.
One thing I do want to point out is I did laugh at a lot of like the conservative pundits when Rose McGowan spoke out against like Me Too and Time's Up, because it's like they always just take whatever scraps they can get when they do, like they crapped all over her for like 2 years, and then she says one thing that doesn't sound nutty, and they're like, look at this freedom fighter, she is fantastic. And it's like,
wait, so Rose McGowan was the one who's speaking out. I think she's the one who was in a cult, and that's why she spoke out, because she felt like it was a cult.
Oh yeah, somebody. Okay, hold on. Can I read the super chat real fast?
yes.
Someone clears this up.
Well, let's just go to the super chats.
Okay.
Then.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Alex Making Beds said, Lydia, you will no longer help carry the burden, sad face.
Oh, that's my role. I think that's the character in Skyrim named Lydia, and she carries your burdens. Doing my own thing.
Moedeeb said, thank God for One Piece and
ISOM.
Yep. And DBZ did a bit of safety propaganda for the Japanese government, like telling kids how to cross the street.
That's not that bad.
That's different, though. That's like G.I. Joe.
Like public
PSA is
service.
used to be wholesome.
Man,
right.
Like I bet you the Chinese comic propaganda is just nuts.
I'm sure.
I'm trying to see that. Like I won't be able to read it, but
yeah.
I don't know if they have it. Carnell said, shout out to Andy and Lydia. Wanted to say, Lids, that it's been terrific watching you push the buttons over the last 2 years. I myself am going to miss hearing your IRL send-off when you say bye, guys.
Well, you guys, we're making our own content. I'm going to be saying bye, guys, a lot more.
You don't have to miss her at all.
That's right. You won't be able to escape me.
You won't be able to get rid of her.
I know. And he's like, oh, gosh, it's so true.
Rebecca,
we just got a bunch of equipment. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Excited.
Rebecca Wallander said, please support your local museums and archives.
Yes. What currency is that, Rebecca? I need to know.
Oh, let me see. Let me look it up. SEK. I think that's South
Korean,
maybe?
Cool.
Luis Aguilar said, hi, Lids. I'll miss your presence on the Timpire shows. Your base takes on current events will be missed. Also, Seamus comeback when? Gotta be one of my favorite Catholics. For real, no cap. Mary's cool, too.
No cap.
Do you do you consider yourself the superior Catholic here at the castle?
Superior?
Who's the best Catholic?
Who's the best Catholic here?
We need a Catholic off.
I always loved how
Shamecast.
Seamus uses Catholic as like other people say like, oh, that's pretty cool. He was like, yeah, that's pretty Catholic. I read that book. That's pretty Catholic.
Catholic vibes?
He really believes. He believes. Yeah.
I don't know. I assume that Seamus is he has more like
Street
catechetical knowledge.
He's a
than I do.
theologian.
No,
Yeah.
he'll tell you he's not, but he is very well
but
said.
he is.
No, he just knows what all of the theologians have said,
Yeah,
and knows
right.
their names and what day they died.
What day they said it and all that stuff.
Gold Macro said, power corrupts no one. Power is a mirror into yourself, free of restraint or inhibitions. You just spread what you already are deep down.
So you corrupt yourself, and power just creates a pathway.
It's a megaphone.
So
That's
power
what they're
is
saying.
like alcohol. It just reveals who you are. It doesn't actually make you.
Yeah.
I would say that power is like money, and that money is just an exemplifier of what's already
It's
there.
a magnifier.
But I used to think that, and
Of
I don't think
corruption.
that's true anymore. I have seen money change people. It's not good. But agree to disagree. Interesting thought, though. Swedish, not South Korean. Sorry.
Oh,
Swedish.
Okay.
Yeah, Kroner.
Oh.
We have Swedish.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
the most South Korean sounding
I know.
name I'd
I
ever
know.
heard, but you never know.
They don't have
they
their
could
own.
be- they could be
Or they don't have
stationed
the
overseas.
euro.
No,
the
they
euro?
don't. They're not on the euro. Yeah.
Huh.
I think they're still Kroner.
Waffle Sensei said, leave Cuomo alone. Unaliving tens of thousands of elderly
poor
people
thing.
during a mass PSYOP campaign is just an Italian thing.
That's right.
Bunch of
I'm not a
Italia
mass
folks.
murderer. I'm Italian.
You know, like it is. Maybe that was the biggest sign of the times, that it doesn't end up being the mass unaliving of people in nursing homes. It's the Me Too allegations that get you.
Can we say the M word?
I wouldn't.
Most foul.
You already said the
Bitch.
R
I
word that
did.
we're not supposed
Wait,
to say
when did I say that?
earlier.
No, I don't think you did.
The
No, I didn't.
The RA word.
Oh, not the RE word.
What's the RA word?
R-A.
Oh yeah, we were talking
Oh,
about
I said that?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
me too. It's all good.
Yes.
Okay.
It's all
I'm not a
good.
very
Lots
good
of words you
podcaster.
can't say here, guys.
I know it's you
We
too.
heart YouTube. Blue Heart asked if we were talking about Ruby Rose.
I'm going to
I
Rumble.
think it's Rose McGowan, though.
Yeah, it's Rose. It's not Ruby Rose.
Yeah, I looked her up. She's not in a cult.
Rhaegar, defender of translucent mermaids, said Rose McGowan was raised in the Children of God cult.
It was
same as
Rose
Joaquin
McGowan.
Phoenix and his siblings and other famous and influential people. Jeremy Spencer randomly joined in adulthood.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, wrong Rose.
It was a
that's
Rose.
all.
And
Yeah, it was
yeah.
a Rose.
It just wasn't
yeah.
Rose Byrne.
No.
Yeah.
I just want to know how
That was so close.
how the hell you know
That's a
Rose
deep
Byrne.
cut.
I
It's
need
way
to
in the
know.
bottom of
It's
Andy's
like
brain.
I think I heard it on The Simpsons somewhere. They talked
Probably.
about her.
All right.
Potatoes for Seamus said Brett still rocking the blonde. Gonna miss you, Linda.
You guys should
Don't
follow me.
Don't miss Linda.
Don't miss me.
She'll be
You
around.
liking the blonde still,
We're
Brett?
thinking about a segment called "Listen, Linda,"
Okay.
where we get Luke to
Luke's gonna pitch in. It'll be
yell
great.
yell things at her.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm looking forward to that.
That's funny.
How is the blonde treating you, Brett? Is everyone loving it?
I'm having more fun.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's what they say.
what-
They say that gentlemen prefer blondes.
That's-
So watch
I-
out for
I
that
do.
too.
Well,
no.
I
I
have
kinda like
They
it.
I have-
definitely do. We know from the super chat.
I
my
have
gosh.
I have become growingly narcissistic. Maybe that's why.
Perfect.
I'm just into myself now.
I love it. I love it.
Fat and Fresh said plans to review ISOM #1. Also love the show. Even if I don't follow pop culture, I like hearing y'all's takes on the cultural side of things. Lids, Timcast IRL will be a sausage fest. Don't leave.
That's what I
will.
keep saying.
You know
I
what we could do? You know what we
It's
could
gonna
do
be a
is we
big
could get
It'll
a
be
pickle
good.
party.
Yeah.
we could get a deep fake influencer to take your job.
A
Oh my gosh,
VTuber?
Yes.
VTuber.
Yes.
Maybe
Super
we-
chats
Good idea.
Just
galore.
waifu.
Yes.
All the way. Let's
Yes.
go.
Yeah, it's actually
We're
really
gonna do it.
compromise.
All right, well, we'll have to pitch that one later at
Carter's
our
in the
next
chat.
world domination meeting. So let's get into Meghan Markle.
No.
If we have to, they say. Meghan Markle calls out Kill Bill for toxic stereotyping of Asian women, but Lucy Liu has often fought back against such a claim. That's like her claim to fame too. So that's she kind of.
Wait, did Kill Bill? Did they make another episode, or is she
No.
talking about this movie
The-
from 15 years
the
ago?
old one from 15 years ago. It's longer than 15 years ago now, I think.
How is this
Not
news?
Up on this.
I mean,
yeah.
I
Because she's got a new podcast.
This was news to me. I didn't know that Meghan Markle even had a podcast of her own, but
like
it's
her
called
fourth
Archetypes, and
after
it's about
some.
like fighting the stigmas that have like pigeonholed women into certain
Who clicks on that?
roles
What?
or whatever. And then when I clicked on it, I was almost like disturbed because she sounds like a text-to-speech bot.
She's a Kamala Harris.
She is really creepy sounding.
Guys, this
she
podcast,
sounds like a VTuber.
This
actually.
podcast displaced Joe Rogan's.
What do you mean?
No
this
way.
Let that
Displaced.
sink in.
Wait, what do
Top
you
of
mean
the chart
displaced
For
it?
like
Displaced
one
him on the
week.
charts. This
Really?
displaced
to this
him.
day?
I don't think so.
I
did
hope
because
happen.
it was
the
only
queen
with the
died.
premiere
I hope
episode.
And because
Oh,
the queen
because
died.
So
her
she's had like
mother-in-law died, I guess.
she's had like big name guests, which I think definitely helps.
Remember when the Obamas had a podcast and they just never
They
did
just
it?
did
She
not.
did one with
That's great.
Didn't they pay
Mariah
him like
Carey.
$100 million
Yeah.
to do that?
I don't know about 100 million, but I think it was like 50 million. But they paid the Obamas a bunch
They were
of
like,
money.
never
and
mind.
they're like, you know, like
I think
I'm busy.
Look,
Harry
folks,
and Meghan still have their own joint podcast, but it's less active than this new one that was started in August.
And they've got a movie coming out through Netflix that they're having second thoughts about because they like want stuff cut that Netflix doesn't want to cut.
Yeah.
Like relating
It's
to
like,
the family.
do you want to be the royal version of the Kardashians
They kind
or
of
not?
are.
Because there are trade-offs.
The
You
funny
gotta
thing
make
is like
them.
we lose out like on a lot of content not covering the royal. Holy crap, do people
We
love
have
the
covered the
royals.
royals a little bit though.
But not a ton. Like there's like every time you go to Newsweek, it's just royals, top to bottom.
That's also just like the UK. That's what they're interested in.
Yeah, they love
you know?
it. They love like there was one the other day. It's like it was like a breakdown of all the people that worked like guard at her funeral, and they were like going to profiles of them. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
It's
So
cool
weird.
that they like the royals and rock stars, and they don't care about movie
Actors.
stars
Yeah.
at all. I think that's kind of
think that's
cool.
Well,
great.
plus all their movie stars come work here.
Clearly, the royals
6 of one,
are
half a
lame.
dozen the
At
other.
least Meghan Markle is extremely lame, and
worse
she
than
only
lame.
has publicity for this podcast because she invites mainstream celebrities on it.
She's
This
kind of a-
time, she invited Margaret Cho and Lisa Ling.
So let's take this quote. She says, movies like Austin Powers and Kill Bill presented these characters of Asian women as oftentimes over-sexualized or aggressive, Markle said. And it's not just those two examples. There are so many. This has seeped into a lot of our entertainment, but this toxic stereotyping of women of Asian descent, it doesn't just end when the credits roll. So, of course, they have to then prove to you somehow, without giving any proof or giving any details back up, that a bunch of guys are then, like, every time they see an Asian woman, they're like, could you reenact a scene from Kill Bill? Like, what are they talking about? What do they mean seeped into the real world?
Well, one of the examples they gave is Margaret Cho said she was in an airport one time and they screamed that line from Full Metal Jacket at her.
Do you want to say it so that somebody can clip it?
No.
Do you want to say it?
Say it.
Me
No.
Beep. Me love you long time.
There you go. There you go.
Exactly.
They yelled that at her in an airport, which is annoying, but
Yes,
also like that doesn't encompass all Asian women's real life experience.
Listen, if your movie is significant enough culturally that people are yelling lines from it at you, that is a W as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, that's not exact. I wouldn't
call it a W. That wouldn't be a
Yes.
pleasant experience for me.
I would think. See, I'm like a contrarian person. I'd be like, heck yeah, that's great.
It's like when I don't remember who the dude from the Counting Crows said he never understood why musicians get tired of playing the songs that made them famous. Like he's like, I don't get like why they grow. I understand. I get it. Like why they do. Like you grow disdain.
Alley top souls.
Yes. Yeah. That nobody listening to this will have any clue.
Foreign language.
There's 4 people out there that know.
Yeah.
But the idea that you especially with music, because music is so emotionally resonant to like when you write a song, it obviously has meaning to it. So then to see it commercialized and then played over and over and over again, you feel like you're like it's being cheapened. But then also other people want to hear it, but you're like, I don't want to do that now. That's not all of who I am. So I could see this actress being like, I'm more than just this line from this movie. But like you said, there is a point to be made that you've reached a large swath of people. You've had a huge impact on culture. You clearly cared enough. You didn't care enough about the line to not do the role.
I think they're realizing it had an unintended impact. And it's one they don't want anymore, but they're not really taking responsibility for the fact that they're the ones who allowed it to happen anyway.
Kill Bill had so much cultural appropriation from white people, and they're complaining about the one Asian person that made it in there.
What was
with
that
all
cultural
the Asian,
appropriation?
Well, it was all this martial arts stuff from Chinese and Japanese culture.
That's I wouldn't buy that because we're in a culture where like there's been a karate dojo in every town for like the last 100 years. I don't.
But they would just say like that's an example of mass cultural appropriation, and it's still wrong.
But then if you turn it on its head. And then you only allow the Asian characters to do martial arts, then you're stereotyping.
There's only one Asian person in the movie doing martial. Well, no, there's the Crazy 88, which there's not 88 of, but there's a lot of them, and they're all Asian.
There's obviously no way to win.
That's part of the story. They're going to
you cannot win in these situations. It's either cultural appropriation or it's stereotyping.
Exactly.
One or the other.
Right.
And they will use it, and they will use the excuse accordingly.
Right. That's exactly. They have it set up. This is classic. They do this all the time.
With everything.
If it was a movie where it was all white people doing martial arts, that would have been cultural appropriation. It would have been terrible. But because there was one Asian lady, then it's a stereotype.
We have Cobra Kai right
problem.
now. We have Cobra Kai, which is a majority white cast.
Very diverse. It's pretty diverse, but yeah,
it's still making use of these martial arts, which don't come from our culture.
There was definitely articles that mentioned that stuff, but those were like they were always in like the most.
They're drowned out by the fact that people have a genuine enthusiasm for the Karate Kid franchise, and they love this spin-off.
It's a well done show.
They're bringing it back too in a movie form, not connected to the.
Which I dislike. I dislike this idea because if you do a spin-off right one time. Just leave it alone.
Just stick with it.
Maybe they bring back Jaden Smith and he
they have no affiliation with Cobra Kai. It just doesn't make sense.
They bring back Jaden Smith and he beats up Kanye West.
If you reboot it and it works, just stick with the reboot.
So Teen Vogue published an essay titled "Hollywood Played a Role in Hypersexualizing Asian Women," in which writer India Roby defined the Dragon Lady as cunning and deceitful, and a character who uses sexuality as a powerful tool of manipulation. Again, I ask, is that bad?
That same article's author said the oversimplified depiction of Asian identity has a deep-rooted history of racism and violence. Often, pop culture has portrayed Asian women as incompetent and fragile foreigners, exotic femme fatales, and subservient quote-unquote mail-order wives.
Lucy Liu is not incompetent and fragile in that movie.
No. Also, I want to point out that there's only so much runtime in a movie. You cannot flesh out literally you don't okay, remember when we were talking about the PA who felt that she didn't get enough recognition on her TV show that she was working on? You don't have enough time in the day or enough time in the script or enough time in the movie's runtime to flesh out every character perfectly so that it doesn't fit into some trope. If that was true, not all evil businessmen would be old white guys now, but they are. But that's fine. That's what the trope is. It's a trope. It's fine. You don't have the time to flesh out every character perfectly. That's just the way it is.
Can I read this next part? Because
Yes.
I kind of have a little point to make here. Kill Bill features 3 other female professional killers in addition to Ishii. Why not call Uma Thurman, Vivica A. Fox, or Daryl Hannah a dragon lady? Lou asked. I would say that you're looking at this backwards. You're trying to look at this as if you're a victim, because you could look at this as, I have this special secret superpower. I am a dragon lady. Daryl Hannah is not. Uma Thurman is not. None of them can be. I'm different. Like, I have this extra oomph because you could view it as like people appreciating your nationality instead of being like, it's all racism. It's the end of the world. I feel like they have a bone to pick with Quentin Tarantino too, a little bit, because he's done the whole Chet Hanks thing with the feminists. Like, he's been very straightforward about what he's not going to be doing.
There was a panel they did for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where somebody's like, why doesn't Margot Robbie have any speaking lines in this? He's like, nope, next.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not answering your stupid question.
I loved it.
Margot Robbie's also faced scrutiny for being in Amsterdam. That like after her part in Bombshell, which is meant to expose the predatory behavior of Fox News executives, she's now starring in a movie that's directed by a man who's had a lot of allegations thrown at him as well, and they're saying she's hypocritical for that. And like, similar to that situation, I think it's kind of unfair to Margot Robbie and to Lucy Liu for similar reasons, that you're asking for them to come up with a defense for themselves over. I mean, is Lucy Liu responsible for the stereotypes that people take from a movie like that she played in? Is she responsible to defend that movie?
Well, here's another thing.
If anything, it should be the people who wrote those lines.
Right. And this is where Hollywood shoots themselves in the foot. Did Margot Robbie have a strong opinion? What was the name of the movie you said that she
Bombshell.
did? Okay, did she have a strong opinion about that movie, saying, we're changing history and we're speaking
I mean, probably if asked, yes.
So because they put themselves in this position where they get up on their soapbox, then you get to hold them to that same standard when they choose not to.
Yep.
If they didn't put themselves up on the soapbox, and I can't confirm nor deny, I don't know whether Margot Robbie got up on the soapbox when she did that role, but like, you cannot expect someone who never got up on that soapbox to have to all the time. But you can at least ask that question of somebody if they have before, but they do that to themselves.
Soapboxing in marketing for a movie aside, take the movie isolated from all of the marketing and the press and judge it for what it is.
Yeah.
That, if that isn't making some kind of claim about a large swath of people, then I don't think that the actress in question should have to answer for it.
But they always want to equate this stuff
impact,
out to larger societal consequences, which not everything has to be that. It's Mary's favorite quote. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be that deep.
Yeah.
But because they can't help but virtue signal, that's where we end up, and that's a problem.
So she goes on to say, I can only conclude that it's because they are not Asian. That is incorrect. That is not the only thing you can conclude. You are not a weak, helpless woman. You could make up your own mind and you could be like, yeah, I do have this super cool special superpower. She goes on, I could have been wearing a tuxedo and blonde wig, but I still would have been labeled a dragon lady because of my ethnicity. If I can't play certain roles because mainstream Americans still see me as other, and I don't want to be cast only in typically Asian roles because they reinforce stereotypes, I start to feel the walls of the metaphorical box we AAPI women stand in.
Well, she did get to play a white guy in the show Elementary, so
there you go. I want to know how much Lucy Liu is worth.
That's my favorite. Like, the funny thing is, I love her as an actress. So
yeah, she's very talented.
I don't know how I feel about her opinions here, but I know that she's an extremely gifted actress. She's also in one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Lucky Number 11 with Josh Hartnett.
$16 million, and she's talking about oppression. Please,
they will always
spare me. It can never dry up. They have to constantly go back to it because this is their bread and butter.
I just looked into the comments Margot Robbie has made about Bombshell, and to my knowledge, I don't see her being soapboxy about it, even though that's a clear opportunity to do so.
She's very controlled.
She said about the movie that it's a political thriller, but not so much about politics. It's ultimately about people coming together to take down a very powerful person who is abusing that power.
Stop! I can only get so aroused.
Okay, that's a very satisfying thing to watch. That's great. Like it's a very good cold and clinical explanation of what it's about.
That's how every person who makes a movie, like I don't care if you're making a movie about the J6 trials. I wanted to be like, it's a political thriller, but it's mostly about people. It's about loss and struggle
and the friends we made along the way.
And orange hair that we made, and the orange hair we cut along the way. Yeah. The orange skin we
love it.
We spray tanned along the way. Like that answer she gave, that should be taught to actors on the type of here they're gonna tempt you. Here's the evil reporter with the bag of candy, except the candy is an opportunity for you to say something stupid and grandiose. Don't do it. They reach out and they put the candy bag out there. You slap the bag away. You do not do it.
Men are terrible. Do you agree?
Slap it.
Exactly.
It's all about people.
Too many conflicts of interest in Hollywood and too many narcissists with like fragile egos. You cannot be, like in an interview, you can't be baited into burning bridges like that.
I remember Gal Gadot had a similar thing where it's Gadot.
Is that really how it's pronounced?
Gadot.
That's what he says.
I
trust him.
Fact check him.
I'm not gonna.
He dares us.
I've had to go through and look up the videos for the pronunciation. It's how she pronounces it. Okay, so there was a video where they're talking about Wonder Woman and feminism. She's like, well, I don't really think it's just about girls. She's like, it's about boys can. She clearly made it about not just the girls, but also boys might want to go watch this movie too. Hey,
I respect
crazy
her too.
idea.
Despite her stupid singing video, I still respect it.
Yes. So. It's just one of those things where it's like, to me, we'll never get rid of the virtue signaling, but we can reward the Margot Robbies of the world who make the Barbie movie and don't virtue signal.
Yeah, like you don't need to cater to any like anti-woke audience. You don't need to be conservative. You just need to not shut up when it's smart to shut up and not be preachy.
And I'm sure she said she's probably said something.
They've all said something,
but I appreciate the effort. I do.
Yeah.
All right,
let's go to Super Chats. Yes. Jay Stanley said, by the way, today's Global James Bond Day, 60th anniversary of Dr. No.
Oh, cool.
I read an article.
Will PC wokeness end or ruin the series or just be a hiccup? All the best, Lydia and Andy.
Isn't the next one like a bit of a change?
Well, they said that James Bond is going to evolve because men are evolving. It's yet to be seen how they'll do that.
I read two articles today. It's going to be them, like they're on the Mary Sue website and they're listening to Feminist Frequency as they're going on mission. I was reading an article today where they were talking about how Albert Broccoli's wife, the restrictions they're putting on it. Being that the actor has to be younger, but not too young. So Tom Holland is out. Likely Tom Holland is out. He's too young because he's in his mid-20s. They need somebody that needs to be early 30s. It is kind of like, I've told this story before where I was reading this article about how the FBI knew what sidearm they wanted FBI agents to carry. So they made the specifications for it so specific that no other firearms would fit it. So the contract would automatically either go to Glock or to Sig Sauer for the P320. And what they're doing is they're putting the restrictions on the character so severely that it's like it's going to be Regé Jean Page. I can almost guarantee it that Henry Cavill is too old, Tom Hardy is too old, Tom Holland is too young,
and not masculine,
I don't even know. Like he could maybe bulk up a little. I'm sure he knows all the good steroid dealers. He's in Hollywood, so like I would like to see that. Like if they could do Regé Jean Page, but they just lean into hypermasculinity, I will forgive the race swap. It doesn't bother me, as you know. It bothers other people a hell of a lot more than me. Make him a super womanizer for one movie. Let's go there.
I just feel like it only doesn't bother you because you're happy it's not a woman.
James Bond gets Me Too'd. That would be a twist.
No, it's the big ask. They're like, what if we made it like a woman? And you're just like, oh, fine. Just as long as it's a dude.
As long as she's a womanizer.
Yeah, as long as it's a dude who like has sex with tons of women, that's fine.
Right.
But I mean, I didn't really have anything but Cillian Murphy. No Cillian Murphy. Sorry, guys.
Why not?
No Dead Eyes. Doesn't fit for the character. Make him a bad guy.
I
didn't like what's his name, the last guy.
Pierce.
Daniel
Craig.
Daniel Craig. Yeah, he's not expressive.
Yeah, he's not.
I mean, that actually kind of fits the character in a lot of ways. But I'm just saying that like we're getting off topic here. But for James Bond Day, I was very happy to hear that Pierce Brosnan doesn't give a crap who they cast.
Yes,
and that they can't cast Tom Holland. So fingers crossed.
There you go.
Dubs all around. Rising Underdog said, just tuning in, Lydia won't be a guest on the show anymore?
Sad face. I won't be on IRL anymore either. We're going to do our own thing. So stay tuned for sure. Brett,
Never
most
gonna
affected.
be on Pop Culture.
Yes, that's it's like you're like, oh, you're not going to be on IRL anymore. Yeah, but what about me?
Yeah,
what about me? Like,
I'm sorry, Brett.
We got to find a new Wednesday host.
Oh
like,
no!
Didn't you think about me and Mary when you made this decision, guys?
How dare you?
How
sorry.
dare you?
How absolutely dare you?
How
Yeah.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, Lids, your strong 19th Amendment opinions will be missed. Brett, no biggie, but FYI, you and Mary's names disappear when the article is on screen.
They do. I saw that.
What? Oh, I
I noticed that too, but I didn't want to call it out.
Yeah, that's okay.
What'd
we
you
know
do?
who you are.
Why is that?
That's
We'll
spacing
figure it out
thing.
later, but
No,
thank you for
What
telling
happened?
us.
I just didn't turn them on.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. There's your problem.
Oh, there you go.
It's not something special. I'm just dumb.
we just swapped out the computer and it's doing
right.
well now. We got RAM
They're
upgrades
back!
coming.
Kissed my waifu in VR said, Amazon driver here, just wanted to say thanks for the content. Dave is my favorite since I love his sassy personality.
Dave.
Shout out to my fellow Spotify listeners who listen there. Also, Brett is okay, I guess.
Oh, well.
He likes Dave
that
a lot
case.
more.
You are pretty okay.
Brent and Dave and Marie. Love you guys.
That's us.
You know.
The OGs.
Yeah. I kind of strive for like in the movie Collateral where they talk about how Tom Cruise's character, he succeeds by being forgettable in all situations. Like he can meld into the situation, he can disappear, he can reappear, and nobody remembers him. That's my superpower. I'm just here.
Just blending.
I'm just blending into the background.
You're very
guys.
memorable.
That's
Brent.
right. It's the blonde, Brent.
James Orenthal Wen said, Lucy the payback Lou though. Hubba hubba hubba.
She's hubba hubba. Like
very
I
cute.
Va va voom, if you will.
as I
Yeah,
would
if
say,
you will,
va va
yeah.
voom.
Oh my.
The men should look like Greek gods, and the women should be va va voom.
Correct.
The you guys should go watch the movie Lucky Number 11 though if you want to see her in a quirky role that's very very endearing. It's very very good.
Dwayne's son said, as a Samoan, I hate when we get lumped into this AAPI stuff like we're another alphabet crew.
Yo, Samoans are not the same. Those people are crazy tall. I've never felt so dwarfed as when I took care of a patient whose whole family was there, and they're all like they're 7 feet tall. And I'm like,
That's
I've
funny.
never felt short before. It was crazy.
What was it? The Rock is pretty tall, but even his cousin Roman Reigns is like as
He's
tall
a
as him, if
baby.
not
Yeah.
taller.
Yeah.
So they're all pretty big.
Yeah.
Matt said, PCC member content, IRL falling off, save my $10.
Oh, you guys need to make some member exclusive content.
We've been we
CC
actually
Uncensored.
Oh,
We were just talking about that,
she's
actually.
she's making a snide face at me right now because we're going to see Amsterdam tomorrow. And I was discussing whether we were going to talk about it on air or if we would do it for the weekend, or as she suggested that we do it as bonus content for the website.
I like that.
And I said, but maybe she's right. Maybe I'm the bad guy.
I think TimCast.com needs more exclusive content.
I would say
yeah. We're going to populate it.
Yes. And then we can swear in the movie reviews. And
oh, that'll be fun.
You can throw popcorn at the movie screen.
This
say the R word.
They won't copyright strike you. Yeah, it'll be great.
All right, guys. We're going to move on to Podluck. And to get started, how do you guys feel about Bill Maher in his current iteration?
I think he's getting there.
He's so slow.
Getting where?
He's on his way.
So slow.
He's strolling very slowly.
So he says
more based.
He doesn't get Emmy nominations like Trevor Noah and John Oliver because he tells the truth, he says.
It's kind of condescending to even ask a question like, why don't you get nominated like the other guys?
Yeah. Like, what's he supposed to say?
What's wrong with you?
What's he supposed to say?
Well, in his defense, he is also a little condescending. So it's kind of, par for the course.
On the second episode of Chris Cuomo's, on the second episode of My Brother is an Abuser. No,
right.
An
Whoa.
His primetime show creatively titled Cuomo.
Yes.
He asked Bill Maher, why do you think you don't get the shine that they do? He pointed out that Bill Maher gets better ratings than John Oliver and Trevor Noah, but he doesn't get the same Emmy nominations.
And Gutfeld gets better ratings than all of them. It doesn't matter.
Sure does.
It doesn't matter.
He's cringe.
So weird.
Very weird.
I've never seen a single clip of Gutfeld.
Don't.
I've never.
I haven't either.
I've seen pictures.
I feel out of the loop.
I've seen pictures of him sitting there, and I imagine Luke cringing as he just as his Tucker Carlson segment ends and he's excited because he's watching Tucker Carlson, and then it ends and immediately cuts to Gutfeld and Luke repels.
It's like the funniest people in the newsroom got together and tried to make a comedy show, and why couldn't they just hire actual comedy writers?
I don't know. It's
Greg
so
Gutfeld is watching this right now and crying.
He's just sobbing.
Sorry.
So it says, looking at just sheer metric of ratings, okay? You crush John Oliver regularly. Yep. Trevor Noah's, you crush his numbers. You don't get nominated the way they do for Emmys, Cuomo said, before eventually asking, why do you think you don't get the shine that they do? I tell the truth, Maher said. I don't perform for just one half of the country and say the things that will make them applaud, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
good for him.
Good for him.
I think he's telling the truth there.
So it's I
think he really says what he believes.
Yeah, I think he might be genuine.
That's
it's slowly evolving, so to me that's an indicator of actually believing it.
Have him and Tucker Carlson done something? Has he ever been on Tucker Carlson, or has Tucker Carlson ever been on Bill Maher?
I don't know. I don't think so.
That would be an interesting one to hear them talk.
It'd be fun to hear him, yeah.
I mean,
maybe they should.
This was a really leading question, and I think they were trying to get Bill Maher to say something explicitly anti-woke.
Yeah.
And he didn't go there. And that's exactly getting at what you guys are saying. He's very slowly creeping toward that.
Right.
But doesn't want to fall into that category.
You know what that proves? That it really is. There is nobody worse than journalists.
Well, then they ask questions.
They're the enemy. They're not just the enemy to us. They're the enemy to the people they're trying to help.
I know.
Because they make everybody hate them. They're like, oh, what do you think about this stunning and brave movie you're in? Pretty good that it's not a bunch of the same people as before. Am I right?
It's
and then they put the microphone to them and say this, say that.
Yeah.
So it says they're very talented people you're talking about and do fine shows. Well, I don't know about fine shows. That's
sure.
So he
Trevor
doesn't
Noah
always,
no longer.
So he doesn't always tell the truth. But
right. He's just being nice.
Maher said, but just there has always been my bond with the audience, which is much more important to me than an award. Is that I call it like I see it.
Right. Okay. That's fair.
I mean, they don't give awards for telling the truth. They give awards for virtue. Right. That's what it is now. They don't give actual awards for, there's a baseline of numbers, I'm sure, so people have to actually know what it is. Some people, but otherwise, it's just about reaching the message.
Yeah, this is proof positive that it's no longer about ratings, and I think you're right. It's only about virtue. That's the only thing that matters.
Well, because there's so much money backed behind it that it's almost it's not too big to fail, but
corporate.
Pretty close.
Just so corporate.
The books can be cooked so easily. Not even incorrectly, but money can be moved around. Things can be manipulated so easily. There was a terrifying comment section that I read the other day. It was some article about the Shakira tax fraud thing, and it was some citizen saying, "That's why I am so glad that they hired 87,000 IRS agents here because they're gonna stop. Well, I want.
You're totally not a bot.
I'm actually gonna put a tax hero thing behind me with Wesley Snipes and
Shakira.
Shakira,
maybe if somebody could Photoshop them
Jimmy
together.
Carr.
Yeah,
but
Jimmy Carr's hero.
So the idea here was that they're like, because they're gonna stop these.
Thank you.
Startle Andy
Crisis
again.
party for tax heroes.
Yes.
You know, Kim Kardashian is a tax hero too.
Yes,
now
she
because
just
of the crypto
got
scandal.
caught. She has to
went
pay,
after her.
Good for her.
Yeah. So maybe we should.
Good for her.
Can we do that? Can we build a tax
We're
hero
gonna get
wall?
so
here?
audited.
Yeah, thanks, babe.
Appreciate
that.
Can I build a tax hero wall and put it behind this guest?
That'd be great. Do it.
I'm doing it.
Iconic.
I'm doing it.
Do it.
Just we'll have to find all of the celebrities that just never paid
Just all their
taxes.
mugshots.
Well, it's not just them. There's
tax
lots of
jailings.
rappers too who are tax
Oh yeah.
heroes.
Oh, I'm sure Lil Wayne is.
Yes. So
Lil Wayne's based. I love that guy.
So in recent years, not even nominations. So do you think that if he changed his tune, he would start getting nominations?
Well, read what he says. He goes on to actually talk about the wokeness.
In recent years, not even a nomination because, of course, the nomination body out here is very woke, and woke has become a big thing, Mar said. Am I the only one who just doesn't
Woke
like
has
using
become
that
a
word?
big thing.
It's
Yeah,
overplayed.
I hate
I don't
that.
like
Definitely
every
overplayed.
time I've ever said it on the show, I then apologize and say I hate saying that word.
Well, he talks about the definition.
Yeah. He says, and
better
woke
word
has
for
become a very big thing, Mar said. And woke, I say meaning woke with an eye roll kind of woke. I mean, there's a kind of woke that's valid. When it started, it became ridiculous.
Yes.
It became
So
ridiculous.
this is what happened with feminism. Even if you believe that there was like a driving force that was actually behind wokeness, like we actually wanted some form of justice that was, for example, social, we quickly lost that, and it's become this self-perpetuating monster that feminism has become. And to a similar degree, although I know less about this, something like unions, like unionization, used to be very important.
You're
no
welcome
longer
for
a big issue.
weekends.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think he has. I feel like Bill Maher has a seed of truth in most of what he says. He's just also very condescending and can be super.
Trevor Noah had like a huge platform when the show started, and it shrunk like 70% or something like that.
Well,
Like-
because Jon Stewart was a bastion of really, truly, holding his own side to the feet to the fire.
That's
And-
what Dane earlier was saying.
Rare.
He said Jon Stewart leaving and Bill Maher getting Trump derangement syndrome is what signaled the end of like kind of even keel politics in this country.
That could have been it.
He would have Ron Paul on, and they would have a great discussion. They would disagree on most things, and they would agree on the things that they agreed on, and they would have a very polite conversation.
Civil,
Even people
yeah.
like Alan Greenspan and stuff like that would come on the show, and they had a very polite conversation. That's just not even possible in today's world.
Some people are saying that with the fall of James Corden and Trevor Noah, that late night is headed for its total apocalypse.
I mean, late night's been
I want to know
apocalyptic.
if you guys think late night needs to be recovered or if it needs to
No.
die.
Let it
Needs
die.
to go.
I mean, what really signified it was when it went from the Colbert Report to the late night version of Colbert, because you had. And the Colbert Report was like making fun of the opposition party of his who was in power at the time. And so that was all fine. They could speak truth to power. But then as soon as their guys get in power, then all of a sudden it's just unfunny jokes and
Clapter.
clapter and
Claps, not laughs.
dancing vaccines.
Yeah, cringe.
The oh man, I can't believe we have to think about that again. Dancing vaccines. That's not good.
Don't remind.
So
don't
what do we
love it.
so what do we replace late night with? Infomercials. Let's bring back
YouTube.
infomercials.
Craig
Sure.
Ferguson.
Yeah.
As
just put
seen on
just
TV.
nothing but commercials on TV.
Yeah.
And we'll just watch YouTube.
Raunchy late night
the future.
stuff, reruns.
Or better yet,
of-
Rumble.
There you go. There you
Mary,
go.
Mary, what would you like to see in replace of late night?
I mean, not just late night, but award shows too. It's all
Yes.
going. It's all riding off into the sunset. I don't know. I've never seen a future for cable since streaming.
They just link you to
about.
their YouTube channels now,
Yeah.
like that. Well, that's also I want to point out, like, what year did Trevor Noah take over?
I don't know. It's been a
Like,
few. Let
I-
me
it would
see.
be-
like
Just
around
uses it
2010.
as a platform to push his
It
Instagram
would
now.
be interesting.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to find out like what the views for like that show.
2015.
It would be interesting to see what the YouTube views were for the show before he started. As YouTube became more prolific, like yes, he lost audience, but how well? Did
And they
the
push it
YouTube
hard.
videos?
I still
Yeah.
get it, and I swear I get subscribed to Trevor Noah without my consent.
And you're like, I don't want to do this. Leave me
Right.
alone.
Get away
Like,
from me.
that's I mean that's kind of what happens, right? Like or you not even subscribe, but just you get thousands of recommendations.
I'll get the
from-
recommendations
yeah.
still, and I'll
Yeah.
downvote every single one of them.
Yep.
So I don't really care about late. I haven't watched Late Night since Letterman, and even after that, not really.
How about Jay Leno?
Yeah.
Craig
Jay Leno went to my
Ferguson.
high school.
Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
The same time as you?
No.
Okay, all
How
right.
old do I look?
That was mean. I'm sorry.
Emotional damage.
that is seriously damaging.
So,
Wow.
did Leno
he
do
look up
something
to
with the
you?
Daily Wire?
I don't think so.
I kept
what?
getting bombarded with an ad for the Daily Wire with a bunch of
I have-
stand-up comedians, and Leno was part of it.
I didn't see that.
Oh,
I
I've
don't know.
heard rumors of
He's-
a late night show coming out of the conservative media complex.
That could be fun.
Mike Rowe is doing
Something is
stuff
on
with
the
them.
way. I don't know.
Conservative media complex.
It's a thing.
It
I mean,
is.
It's
Adam-
it's a
Adam
ghettoized.
Carolla.
Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam Carolla's over
Carolla's
there.
doing some kind of like
Some kind of
variety
something.
late night type show.
I still have a lot of respect for Adam Carolla.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
great.
I still like Adam Carolla a lot, and that's because like when I listen to him, I flash back to the Man Show.
It's
just
crazy to see him and Kimmel and just the
opposite.
diverted paths.
We were so close to having him on the show.
Didn't
I was
work out?
crushed.
Oh.
Yeah, he's super busy. I know.
Super. I mean, they do that show 5 days a week, right? Like they're busy. Like I get clips
Yeah.
from
Oh,
them
I
every
know.
single day.
Very busy.
Also, do you ever notice like on his podcast? I don't know if it's still true that there's like he gets a chair, but everybody else stands.
No way.
I don't like that.
That's a great idea.
Like,
You should try
Really?
that.
That's like a weird
At least
form of
one person
psychological-
stands during.
Or
they-
you stand, everybody else has to sit. That would be weird.
That's
Like,
weird too.
yeah,
You're just like a
like-
teacher in front of a bunch
Yeah.
of students.
So yeah, so
Either way, it's a power move.
it's
Yeah,
just
definitely
like
a power
questionable
play.
one.
well,
Yeah.
we guys like we got a lot of money, but chairs, I don't know
Nah.
about that here, guys.
Everybody else just gets a really low stool.
Yeah.
And they have to stand on the stool. Like,
Yeah.
they get step ladders. They get step ladders up to the podium.
Oh, someone says Steven Crowder is technically doing kind of late night show.
Is
Yeah,
does that
he's
count as
doing
late?
a very
I've always
kind of similar
found him
sort
kind
of.
of funny. I think he's
He's-
great.
and Dave Landau is like really like
He's
the, you know, the
hilarious. We
he's
love
like
Dave.
that, you know, the announcer guy that chimes in
Yeah.
every once in a while, kind of like
He's
an Andy
like a
Richter.
co-host. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what he's considered.
I just I don't remember late night being. I didn't really watch it during the Obama years, but I know that it was very like all of the media was very covered up pretty heavily there. So it's just I'm glad let it go. Infomercials all day.
Go,
I
yeah.
wanna
Well,
see-
it's really getting replaced with like 4-hour long podcasts
Yeah.
that you just play in the background of your daily
Well, you
activities.
do your chores.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's what it's really.
that's what this
they're
is.
making its
Yes,
place.
right.
We are
That's us.
here. We
Yeah.
are
Here
here
for
to
you.
make-
Thankfully, we're not at 4 hours yet.
Yes, we are here to make your
Not for long.
to
Sometimes.
make your day better.
Yeah.
Well, like those are all the ones that I listen to. Like as somebody who's like I usually put them in my bad ear so I can only hear about 30% of what they're saying.
Perfect.
And like I catch the loud parts, and that's what matters, right? The loud parts are what
There
matters.
you go.
So it is what it is. I'm fine with it being replaced. Be gone with it.
Love it.
All right, Alec Baldwin.
Oh.
This
Oh,
is
boy.
bonkers, guys. I actually saw a couple of interesting takes on this. One that was very charitable in the concept of forgiveness.
What?
Alec Baldwin and Rust Producers will continue filming in January of 2023. They have reached a settlement with the husband of Helena Hutchins, who will now be a producer on the movie that resulted in the death of his wife.
He directly profited
That's-
from this
Yes.
settlement.
Wow.
I mean, profiting from the settlement, sure. Wanting to be affiliated with the movie is bonkers.
But he's
to
not.
me.
He's not just
Weird.
going to profit from the settlement, but also the
From the
film
movie.
itself because
Yes.
he's staying on the crew, and that's what makes me suspect that this was planned. And I don't see where Alec Baldwin benefits in this, but I'm just going off of intuition.
Tell me your theory here.
I mean, maybe he just
Alec
had
Baldwin was a patsy. He was the fall guy.
Was he?
maybe
He was married?
Right.
Was it a way to sabotage Alec Baldwin?
He was in
all
league
along?
with the safety
I don't know.
lady.
There's just there's
Yeah.
a lot of
This is all
potential
Rupert
for a
Murdoch.
TV movie
Yeah.
in this.
Rupert Murdoch heard him talking crap about the New York Post and was like, "Not on my watch."
This guy
Oh,
wanted to
gosh.
kill his wife
Yeah.
So he set Alec Baldwin up.
He
Alec
fiddled with the
Baldwin was
gun.
innocent.
All
my
along.
gosh, that
I would have gotten away with it.
That's okay.
Hashtag Alec
It's
Baldwin
like
did nothing wrong.
Alec Baldwin was innocent and then was like shockingly still not like he still didn't feel remorse even though someone who's genuinely innocent would.
But, like,
So it was
Somehow
like it
still
was
just as bad in
surprises
this
all
situation.
around.
so it says Matthew Hutchins, that's the husband of Helena Hutchins, announced this morning, we have reached a settlement subject to court approval for a wrongful death case against the producers of Rust, including Alec Baldwin and Rust Movie Productions LLC. As part of the settlement, our case will be dismissed. The filming of Rust, which I will now executive produce, will resume with all original principal players on board in January.
Is he going to be on the
2023.
set, or is he at least going to be just like?
They make
kinda-
him the armorer.
Oh my gosh.
So, like, imagine having to film. There will be a documentary made about having to pick up where that scene left off.
That's a good
They,
making of movie
They like
right there.
quadruple check the freaking
This
round.
is going to be a better documentary than
movie.
a movie,
Yeah.
but we are going to watch the movie, of
Says,
course.
I have no interest in engaging in recriminations or attribution of blame to the producers or Mr. Baldwin. All of us believe Helena's death was a terrible accident. Here's the thing. That doesn't really matter in the eyes of the court for the wrongful death lawsuit. But what's interesting is this will help in the public opinion side of things if it does go to trial, if he does get tried in court. Like, how bad could he be? He's working with her husband.
And in theory, it doesn't help your court case, but everybody knows that when public opinion is swayed, that has a
affects
tendency to
juries.
affect not only juries but
And
judges as well.
Yeah.
That
So-
sentence, all of us believe Helena's death was a terrible accident, is going to sound so thrilling in the true crime drama series.
You can hear him reading
based
in
around
that.
this.
That's
in
how
that
I
sentence.
felt. That's how I felt when Donald Trump gave his State of the Union and he said America will never be a socialist country. I imagine it was like the end of the trailer, and it goes dun dun dun, and then that line gets. Yeah, I was literally like editing the
Echoes.
trailer in
Love
my
it.
mind.
Socialist country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So it says, we are grateful to everyone who contributed to the resolution of this tragic and painful situation. That's just bonkers, dude. This is money. Like, this doesn't happen to anybody poor. Like, the only way Baldwin gets away with this is because of how much money he has.
I think that was written by the same PR guy that wrote the vaccine comic.
Yeah, that's what it feels
that
like.
could be very well
Yeah.
true. He's like, he had a busy day that day having to write this article. So it says, my effort. Okay, so I'm going to say, Rust director Joel Souza paid tribute to Helena Hutchins' talent and creativity and said the decision to continue working on the film for her legacy is bittersweet. Souza added, my every effort on this film will be devoted to honoring Helena's legacy and making her proud. It is a privilege to see this through on her behalf. I actually, you don't agree?
No, I think he's full of nonsense.
Yeah,
They just want more money, and they're like, oh, well, we got all the eyes on this film. Now let's get it done.
How do they make...
That's so cold.
Do you want to
That's
see this
cynical.
when it comes out?
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah,
No.
like we have to review it,
That
right?
scene, like that scene
Yikes.
alone, like everyone's going to be like, did
This
they
would be
remove?
huge
There
movie.
is something to be said for, like, I mean, stuntmen are notorious for, like, getting really angry if you, like, cut, even if they're injured, because the greatest fear as a stuntman is that you do the greatest stunt in your life
Never
and you
gets
actually
uncut.
die,
Yeah.
and the medics
not
rush
on
in too
film.
soon and they can't use the shot.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like they'll get like furious at people.
This
you know,
is
that
why
happen.
Andy doesn't want me to stop recording if he falls
Yeah.
when he's rollerblading.
Yeah,
This is
when
exactly
she's
the
filming
reason.
movies.
Oh yeah,
skate.
there's nothing
You
worse
don't
than
get to
cutting. Like
stop.
if you
Yeah.
fall really bad and then
Oh
somebody
my
just
god,
stops
are you okay,
filming,
honey? And it stops.
Yeah.
there's no point in that.
That only happened once. Never happened again, for sure.
It's not something that,
Like, oh my
that you
gosh,
should
he's
ever
dead.
do. Like, so I took this horrible fall. I'm in tremendous pain, all for nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
that's
aftermath.
fair.
I don't even get the grams.
That's fair.
The
Okay.
aftermath is the funny part. The aftermath is
Yeah.
the funny part when you're laying
Oh,
there
my
in pain.
balls.
Okay.
well.
Andy.
So
Keep it together.
if it comes out, I say we all go see it and then
Yeah.
we review
No,
it.
I just-
for-
It's a trauma
Gross.
bonding experience.
It will be.
So
It's
cynical.
And
But
then the documentary, and then we do like a comparison video. What was better, the actual movie or the eventual documentary that gets made
it's
about
going to
it?
be the
And
documentary.
then Baldwin
for sure.
Baldwin like ends up producing the documentary as well, and just profits on every level of this. Like,
Like, what if R.A. the Rugged Man had killed Lydia in the course of that show?
yeah.
the documentary would have been incredible.
Yeah.
And
Would've
then
been
they just
fire.
didn't air the show?
Yeah.
That
It's
would
like-
have been
it's
sad.
like you
yeah,
died
the
for nothing.
sacrifice would have been for nothing. I agree.
Does anyone remember what Rust is supposed to be about?
That's
Nope.
a Western.
Western.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
all.
well,
Hannah
Hannah
Claire
Claire's
will
gonna
love it.
love it.
Hannah
She
Claire's
loves
gonna love
Western.
it.
I gave her the suggestion to watch 1883 this week.
Is that good?
It's very, very good. Taylor Sheridan. Yeah, Hannah Claire will. I mean, I'm sure other than the tragic circumstances, Hannah Claire will find it fantastic,
Yikes.
right?
It just seems so cynical to me. I don't like it.
Also, like, does he get profit margin now? Is he get, if he's executive producing, does he make money on like how much it makes? Like, is he going to use her social medias to promote it?
Creepy.
Like,
Just like Chadwick
like
Boseman,
Chadwick
but
Boseman.
worse.
Don't like that at
Yeah,
all.
dude.
That's horrible.
Yep. So I don't know. All right. So before we go, they mentioned I don't know if you guys heard, but Velma.
Big
is
news.
Velma's
The biggest.
apparently a lesbian.
Thank gosh.
There's a new Scooby-Doo
Finally!
movie coming out for Halloween, and
Representation.
I just can't.
they added
Matters.
some well-needed representation for the LGBT community
I
in
don't
it.
care.
I just know that like people already wanted Velma to be gay anyways.
Lydia, you have a specific take on this. Why don't you tell
I
everyone?
do. I think that most people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I have a very special place in my heart for lesbians. And it's partly because of the trans thing. I will say that right now. Lesbians have really... Okay, stop laughing at me. I'm making a very serious point here.
Just tread lightly here.
I don't know. But it's because lesbians have really been they've really been not just left out, but intentionally excluded as a certain movement has been gaining steam. They've been vilified for not wanting to partner up with people who don't fit their biological requirements.
They're erasing lesbian bodies.
They are. They really are. And no one seems to really care. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like 2 lesbian bars left in the entire country. You don't get to be a lesbian and go out and meet other lesbians in like a lesbian specific environment anymore, which is really kind of sad. Like, I feel like it's not just lesbians that I kind of think this way about, but women in general. Like, it seems to me like women in general are being, well, we already know men are, but women certainly are as well. I mean, Woman of the Year was Caitlyn Jenner, and then we have, Leah Thomas, and we have all these brave and beautiful ladies up in front showing us how to be real women, which is really demoralizing for like
and a real woman
athletes.
is, of course, basically a man. Like,
well, yeah.
Wait, so they were
a regular woman
mansplaining
is a
being a woman to
defective
you?
man.
Literally.
No.
Yeah. Well, and I've always said that I don't want to be a second-rate man. I want to be a first-rate woman.
There was that meme that says like calling all like below average men.
Yeah, right. Honestly, it's like here's your chance. Here's your chance to get ahead and get one over on the ladies. Like,
so you think this is a good thing?
I think it's a overall
okay
positive.
thing.
Somebody made the point last night that this shouldn't be in a show for kids. And I'm like, this is not a show for kids anymore.
Yes,
This is all people our age.
It is.
I disagree. I think this is the largest part of this audience now is people our age who are.
But that's not who it's marketed. It's
And there's a lot of
marketed.
this
It's
LGBT
marketed to be shown to the kids of the people who were from that generation.
Maybe.
Right.
In which case,
Yeah.
I think
Same
it's
thing
good.
with the new Little Mermaid movie. It is still marketed
Right.
to children, but it's
Right,
for
it's
the
the
Disney
younger
adults who
kids.
bring their kids there.
Right.
But this
That makes
LGBT like agenda stuff that, I mean, it's one thing to be mad if you have like a drag show where they're doing like a strip tease in front of kids, but I don't care if there's a trans person
Nah.
talking
Slippery slope.
to
Well,
I won't get too much
yeah.
into it because this is not a political show.
Right.
Yeah.
We will.
As
But-
I am constantly
A slippery
saying.
slope
Right,
is
and
what
it's
got
hard.
us to that point.
Well,
And
I think it's a cultural.
I maintain that.
I think it's a cultural issue where women are being minimized. Like, you want to talk about misogyny. This is clear-cut misogyny to cut out lesbians and to tell them that their preference
Well,
means nothing.
You're
and
not
that
a
they shouldn't
lesbian,
be
you're
there.
a man.
Right,
I think
apparently,
it's
something like
interesting
that.
how in media depictions of lesbians, it's fine to objectify women only in that context, but if it's men objectifying women, then it's not okay.
Right.
The
It's
hypocrisy
just-
is also bothersome.
Yeah. Agreed. What do you think,
Okay.
Brett? Am I right? Am I wrong?
What do you
Disagree?
think about the
I
gay
take,
agenda?
with me.
I take no opinion on any of this.
Okay.
No?
I don't care about Velma being.
Yeah, I
that
don't
didn't
really
bother-
care.
That's been a thing that they've wanted for a very long time.
I feel like she's
I'm
dressed
tired.
that way
Kinda
for
gross
it.
anyway.
I'm tired of the comments
Same.
where they. Okay, I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like the finally part because they treat it as if the end goal of literally everything is to change it to something else. So James, like eventually James Bond will be
Finally.
a gay woman, and then they'll say finally James Bond is a gay woman. Like the finally part bothers me because it's like they're acting as if something can't just be
And also they're acting
everybody
as
was
if
waiting.
the entire fan base of Scooby-Doo was like waiting for this to happen when no one cared. And like most people see this headline and are like, okay.
Well, didn't they also change Velma and make her Indian in a recent version?
I don't know.
And nobody cared about that because it's like nobody cares about
When
Scooby-Doo.
was that?
Was she just like no explanation?
Because you said that you thought Jamila Jamil played Velma.
I think I might have missed
at one point. I don't know if she did,
that.
but I don't remember that.
I feel like Mindy Kaling would be a
that,
good Velma.
No,
Yeah,
I think that's
agreed.
what it was. I think it was Mindy
Oh,
Kaling.
really? Okay.
I could be missing.
Maybe I just saw that and
catch
thought
me if
about
I'm wrong, but I thought that there was a thing where that was a whole controversy like a year or two ago. If you're back in the Scooby-Doo controversies, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, ladies and gentlemen. Why can't something more interesting happen?
I like how you use chat as like that's your
Our
Jamie.
sounding board. Yeah.
It's like your Jamie.
Chat,
like you should
correct
just
me if
use
I'm
them
wrong.
as though like just
Jamie, chat, look that up.
pull that
Chat,
up,
look that
chat.
up. Yeah.
Chat, pull that up.
Oh,
Just
I
treat
think-
them as though they're your assistants.
exactly. They're like the AI. They're like Alexa.
Give them a job. People like having a job.
It's
like
great, yeah.
It gives them a
That's
sense
what Jordan
of
Peterson talks
responsibility.
about.
For sure.
It's important.
Can I say before we go that the reason they say finally is because they are never content with leaving things the way they are because we're progressing, Brett.
Yep.
This is postmodernism in action. We're constantly shifting and changing. We're progressing toward whatever TF we're moving towards.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean.
Okay, I'm looking
it is
at
what it
the
is. Hello,
Mindy
chat.
Kaling thing. Apparently, it was that she's voicing an Indian version of Velma in an animated film that's a prequel to Scooby-Doo titled Velma.
I knew I didn't.
Well,
I knew
And
I
it's
didn't
coming
miss
to
it.
HBO
Is
Max,
she
but
the
I don't
original
know
Velma
if it's
just
still going
changed?
to come to HBO Max because they just hampered a different Scooby-Doo
The
movie.
Scoob. They got rid of Scoob.
Scoob,
They got rid of
alongside
Scoob?
Batgirl.
Right.
That was
along
kind
with
of a
Batgirl, it's
footnote
write-off.
in the Batgirl news.
When Batgirl got written off for a tax write-off because of the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, one of the other movies that also got removed was also along with CNN Plus. Gone. Ugh, you're gone. You're out of here. So yeah, I knew I wasn't imagining that there was the Velma.
That sounds like a fever dream, though. Holy cow.
The Velma thing. So, like I said, like every time, like you can imagine that if you're covering Velma or Scooby-Doo, you just look for somebody in the comments to be like ... slow news day. Like that's all it is. I don't care. Like I don't care.
It's
I don't,
all good.
And also I would rather they do the James Gunn Scooby-Doo horror movie. That's what he wanted to do.
Somebody says, so Velma is the new James Bond. Yes, I think
Let's
is the
go!
culmination. Yes,
Mindy
Mindy Kaling
Kaling
is James Bond.
So Velma
I thought
is
Christmas
James
only
Bond.
comes once.
Velma,
a year.
the world is not enough. Andy knows that quote.
great.
Yeah, that's
Line.
that's a fantastic sexual innuendo that they did in the movie The World Is Not Enough because Denise Richards plays the world's most unconvincing nuclear physicist.
Oh,
because
right.
there is no such thing as a nuclear physicist that is as hot as Denise Richards.
Right.
And if it does exist, somebody please give me their LinkedIn. I need to know. And that was that line was at the end of the movie. See, they also need to bring back the really bad sexual innuendo puns in James Bond.
Let's
half the
bring
battle.
all of those back. Yeah, honestly.
That's what they need to do. Mr. Page, can you please deliver a really, really bad sexual innuendo and pun?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
What we
Let's
need
do
is
it.
Batman Forever. Is that the one with the Ice to See You?
That's
with
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that's the one.
Chill. Very good.
Ice to See You.
Oh my gosh.
There was worse ones in there. I don't even remember what the other ones were.
There's a
They're-
great
yeah.
YouTube compilation of just
Of
all
just
the
Mr.
bad
Freeze.
cold puns.
That's great. I love a bad pun. That's
Everybody
why I married
freeze.
Andy.
I'm gonna read the last of
Go
the
to the super chats,
chats,
guys. If you guys want to say anything nice to Linda,
Yes.
oh wait, Lydia and Andy, please. Now is
so
the
now.
time.
Say your last words.
that sounds different.
Daniel Cummings sent us 159 with no message.
Thank you.
I hope that was on
$1.59?
purpose.
$1.59
I think that
or
was so we
It's a
could
very
get-
specific number.
I think that was so we could get a crisis party. I'm
Oh,
not sure if you
maybe.
can see that, but yeah. I think
Okay.
that was.
Bobcat said, I still say there needs to be a good true crime podcast about great heists and burglaries. Seriously, there is a market for this.
That'd be fun to talk about.
That would be way more interesting to me than true crime.
Yeah,
people
but like
dying.
the true
Yes.
crime fans are always looking for the most gory
I
and
don't want that.
disgusting things.
I
Yeah, I
love
hate that.
like given that heist films and the spy genre and anything to do with crime thrillers is my
Espionage.
favorite. Are my
Yeah.
favorite genres. I would absolutely be into something like that.
For sure.
Waffles Sensei said, leave the Cuomos alone, Italiaphobes. Faking being quarantined while using your platform to yell at Americans about staying locked in their homes is just an Italian thing.
It's true.
Look,
not a
I'm
hypocrite. I'm an Italian.
Not a hypocrite. I'm not a pervert. I'm just Italian.
Yeah, that's right.
Bad App said, oh, I'm not saying that.
I was rollerblading with Andy when I broke my wrist. That's correct. Yeah, thank you.
And I'm not reading
I
the
knew
second
you.
one
I
that
knew
he
you
says.
weren't reading the
Stinker.
second one.
Well, I wasn't gonna read either of them.
Hashtag me too. There's another name for the hashtag symbol. We all know this. It's the
1,000 Foot
oldest
Deep
joke.
End said, late night TV has hit
Number
rock
sign?
bottom when Brett is suggesting replacing it with commercials. LOL.
Yeah.
No.
Infomercials.
Infomercials.
Very different.
Billy Mays.
Infomercials is a
the
genre
Flex Seal.
unto itself.
Yes.
It
All
is
the
not-
memes come from there.
Yes, they
I
do.
just
So
remember
good.
like being a kid waking up with a fever
Yeah.
and going downstairs at 4 a.m. and watching infomercials.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
It's a
that's
strange news program.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm okay with infomercials. I'm not okay with commercials. They're different.
Yeah. I just like the lady with a hammer who can't figure out how it works.
I love
How
it.
does my hammer work?
Wyatt Kaldenberg said, in the 1960s when celebrities guarded their image and were seldom seen, late night mattered. With the internet, what is the point of late night?
Good point.
Like like whatever opinion they're gonna share on Colbert will actually be less interesting. Whatever garbage they're gonna spew on their social media.
That's fair.
Right.
So why bother, right?
Getting
Like,
interviewed used to be your Twitter.
Also, I
Yeah.
want to point out that celebrities were probably always this nuts. They just you didn't have access
Yeah.
to their innermost thoughts at all times, which kind of strengthens my argument that the internet, the ability to communicate with people through social media was a mistake. The access to everyone's inner monologue is a terrible idea.
I agree.
And everyone's desire to actually share that inner monologue with everyone will be
Lethal.
the downfall of
Not
society.
good.
I need to stop watching YouTube said questionable power moves are always available to you.
Good point. Deep philosophical thought.
1,000
Come up
Foot
with
Deep End said, Andy's cool. Wish he'd been a guest more often.
Hey,
Yeah, hey.
Well-
Brett said I didn't talk enough.
No, what I
Yeah,
said
was
was
trying to fill in the cracks when you guys stopped talking. I didn't feel like it was my place to interrupt.
The last 3 times Andy was supposed to come on, I got a message an hour before the show. Oh, sorry, I'm busy
Yeah,
right now.
that's
I
'cause
can't
he's-
come on today. I've got important work
Funny
to
how
do.
you're twisting the narrative.
Very you're fake
Well,
news.
don't let the door hit you
Right.
on the way out.
Aw.
That was mean.
Andy. That's not
Jay Murray said, I'm lost and late. Why is Lydia quitting?
We're leaving to do our own thing. We're going to be closer to family, which is our main motivator. But we really want to create content and keep trying to make cultural change because I really feel like this is the most important thing we can do.
We're extending the Timcast cinematic universe.
That's right.
Oh, man.
I love that.
So Tim's Kevin Feige.
TCU?
Yeah, the TCU.
That would make Tim Kevin Feige. That would make what does that make us? We're
Paul
Captain
Feig? Oh, that's who I'm thinking
No,
of.
Paul Feig's the Ghostbusters 2016 guy.
That's
What
not
is
the
it with
same.
you and the weird like?
It's because he's a film buff too, but slightly twisted.
He
It's
knows
great.
who
I
Rose.
was a film buff 20 years ago.
That's the problem.
But like, so if Tim's Kevin Feige, but that would also simultaneously make him Iron Man. That would make us Captain America and
Yeah.
you Black Widow, I guess.
There you go.
By
Hey,
de-
cool. I
by
like the
default-
TCU.
Who are we?
I don't know.
I think we're the
We're spinoffs.
You would
we're the
have
masters of the what's it called
you guys can be the X-Men.
Okay.
Because
The
they're
X-Mixin.
the X-Mixin now because you
yeah.
can't be X-Men anymore because
Yeah.
that's bigoted.
Yeah.
what's the one with the cool music and the guy that's
Huh?
Need more clues.
Luke Cage.
What's the one with the
the
guy?
one in space.
One of the,
Oh,
yeah,
Guardians of the
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy. That's
Yes,
it.
that's
You're
the
not
one.
Peter
Universe.
Quill, my friend.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
you are.
You can be
I
Drax.
like it. No, he's.
I forgot my. The thing about the brain pills. is you forget to take them.
You know, it's a
Yeah,
serious
yes.
problem.
You want to advertise that right now? Do
Yeah,
a quick
it's all
advertisement
good.
for
I
Alpha
used
Brain.
to-
No, it's not Alpha Brain.
Yeah,
I think
was
you are
using
Peter
Alpha Brain
Quill.
before, and I think I'm who?
You are
Peter
Peter
Quill.
Quill, and I think we
Who's
are
that?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
That
Yep,
makes
there you
you okay.
I'm the.
I don't care who
who's
I
the,
am.
who's
I'm
the
the
handsome
raccoon.
guy who used to be on Parks and Rec?
Peter Quill.
That's Peter Quill.
Yeah, that's
That's-
him.
Oh, that's his real name.
That's
in
Chris
the
Pratt.
No, it's Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Star
that's what I mean.
Lord.
Yeah, Star Lord.
There you go. And I'm the raccoon. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Super Jet.
Rascal King said, the Rascal King just stopped in to say thanks and wish Liz the best.
Thanks,
I'll be
Rascal
listening
King.
later.
Thank you.
Oh, Rascal King, thank you so much. I love that the Rascal King always talks in the third person.
Exclamation points. Love it.
Nathan Settlemeyer said, "Those poor lesbians."
All right. I'm saying.
The thing with Velma is the more important problem is it's the turtleneck.
It's that.
Why is that a problem?
That color. It's the color.
Not
that color was egregious.
Show some more cleavage.
No, that's not
when was the character created?
A long time ago.
Feels very 70s.
It feels like they made her ugly on purpose. I always kind of hated that.
They kind of
ugly?
I do love how
she's
it's like
smart and
it makes her ugly.
They're like, she's ugly, so of course she would be
a turtleneck and glasses.
That's kind of the myth of like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Like the smarter you are, it's like a sliding scale from ugly to smart.
Well, then the 90s came out and it became a thing where where you make the ugly girl hot by taking off her glasses and taking off her ponytail.
Right.
That.
Like in Hathaway.
They did it in Not Another Teen Movie where she goes, they're like, who could be the prom queen? And it's like a pair of people attached at the head, a hippie albino woman. And then he says, what about Janie Briggs? He's like, she's got glasses and a ponytail.
That's not
There's
gonna
no
work.
way she can be prom queen. And then
great.
later, the other girl just removes the ponytail and takes the glasses off. She goes, that's it. I'm a genius.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Everyone should go watch.
That
That movie is incredibly
great.
not politically correct now.
I love it.
Go watch Not Another Teen Movie. It's Chris Evans' first movie role.
I remember watching it and it wasn't that funny. Maybe it's like the difference between our two senses of humor.
Now it would be more shocking to a younger generation than it would be.
It wasn't even shocking. No, it was just like the.
But now it would be. In the cultural climate where they would never make.
I watched it in 2019 though.
Okay.
You know, it just doesn't resonate. It was
2002 when you saw You Had to Be There. It had a Phantom Planet song, for gosh sakes.
There were a lot of things that you just had to be there.
You had to be there. It was around the time the OC was out, so Phantom Planet was a thing.
Johnny Derp said, "Don't forget the biscuit quest, Linda. Wouldn't want you to miss the carb coma. I'm a cynic, so you may or may not be genuine, but you seem like an authentic human even when under the lens. That's all."
Thank you. If it makes you feel any better, I'm super cynical too, and I'm entirely the same person on and off screen. Very short-term memory. It's no joke, guys. It means you can't tell a lie. So I'm entirely the same person on screen and off screen. It's great, right, babe? No lies here. We can't remember.
It takes a lot of brain power to be able to hold together the web of lies that it takes to be like a lying type person.
Couldn't be me.
And I don't have that kind of memory.
Are we going on the biscuit quest?
That's how she can trust me that I'll never cheat on her.
Exactly. Are we going on the biscuit quest?
I don't know what that means.
I'll tell you. We'll talk about it later. We're going to have to drive like 350
There's
miles.
a biscuit emporium, okay?
That's right. We have to do it.
Get excited.
Yeah. Get stoked. Yeah. Get pumped. Woo.
Are we bringing Dip? Is he involved?
Yeah, he should be. Yeah, he loves biscuits.
Bobcat said, Brett just likes the Slap Chop commercial.
That was my favorite.
By the way, the stream just buffered and I just got really nervous.
I could tell that you were nervous, but I didn't want to say anything and draw attention to it.
We got a RAM upgrade coming.
Awesome.
I was just because
is it okay? Is everything fine?
It looks like we're good. I was saying we're like $5.
It's live for me.
We're like $5 from a third super chat.
Ooh, let's do it.
Crisis party.
Super party.
Super party.
That'd be super fun. Ooh. Yeah, like $1,000 or something. Yeah.
A super crisis party.
Yes.
$5.
Crisis.
Okay. Keep going. Sorry. My face was like, oh, don't you freaking dare. Because no, it was literally at like an hour and 59 minutes.
He's gonna keyboard smash.
It was at like an hour and 59 minutes when it happened yesterday. So it was like right there. I'm like, if it happens at the exact same part 2 days in a row, I'm throwing.
You're gonna rage quit?
Yeah, I'm raging.
There's no bathroom behind me. Can I just?
No, there's not. No. Okay, get it together, Andy. We're almost done. No,
it'll be okay. Waffle Sensei said, "Goodbye, Lydia. It's been my pleasure to tag along on your journey, and I'll be tagging along for wherever you go from your long-distance internet pen pal, Waffle Sensei."
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. We're gonna be doing stuff. Check us out later.
St. Miles said, "Got the pun when Lydia said holy cow about the Indian Velma."
Thank you for appreciating that pun. That was completely unintentional, but I will take credit for it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Holy cow.
It wasn't intentional?
No.
Ah, well, you know.
Yeah. I was trying to keep it clean instead of saying
or was
something
it?
else.
Or what?
tricky.
Walker, Texas Danger said, whatever happened to Slapchop Guy? Infomercial heroes are real.
Right?
Well, there was also the ShamWow guy was just a cokehead, like for sure. Like
big
loves
surprise.
It. That's such a vibe.
Like I love it.
Just screaming at the camera. We
And
need
then
to
Billy
embody
Mays.
that.
And the best thing is, that guy, like before they're recording, was probably like taking notes. He's like, and that's it. Like, and then he gets into character and immediately, like he's like
sweating bullets after they're done.
Yeah.
he's the guy. Like when you meet him, they're like, I couldn't believe how soft spoken he was. He's like, hello, I'm the ShamWow guy.
Who I am at
It's
work.
very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Like a lot of metal singers are kind of like that.
Yeah.
Alice
definitely.
Cooper.
He's great.
Doesn't anybody remember Wayne's World when
And that's
he's like,
kind of how he actually is.
when
I
they're
think.
like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Milwaukee.
He's
it's
a Christian.
Algonquin for the good land.
He's been married for like 65 years. He's a Christian. He has like 3 grown kids. It's great. Love Alice.
We're not worthy.
Really?
We're not worthy.
Seriously.
We're scum. Everyone should go watch Wayne's World after they watch Lucky Number 11 tonight.
If you know Brett, he just quotes that movie at least 6 times a day.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but once a week.
And
probably.
usually the quote just starts with a memorable part that's relevant to like whatever we're talking about, and then it
trails
continues
off.
for the
Yep.
next 16 minutes of the movie.
Good work, Brett.
I am a product of the world I was raised in here in 21st century
I love it.
America.
It's great.
I think
It's very
great.
endearing.
I think it's great.
Shards of Narsil said they should change it to
Woo!
Thank you
Thank
to
you.
How many-
X-Men.
What's-
EX,
what's the
like
record? What are we
formerly
at here?
men.
I love it.
You're not touching the record, my
It's
friend.
like 20.
What's the record?
Yeah, it's a lot.
What are we at?
We're at
5?
3.
Come on, we can do this.
Your record is
3.
27.
We're staying here all night if we have
We're
to.
not. No. You're the one who has to pee.
Yeah, what the heck?
I can handle it.
He's like,
I'll
don't
go
worry about
right
it.
here if I have to.
Anything for 28 parties.
Oh my gosh.
1,000 Foot Deep End said Crisis Party.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Woohoo.
that.
Thank you so much.
Caper2X said, you're the Immortals peeps. Happy trails one last time, Lydia and Andy. Keep calm, Brett. Make mine Marvel.
People are talking like we're dying.
I know. I'm kind of sad
Well, some
myself.
of them said they're following your journey elsewhere.
Follow our adventures. We'll be
Yes.
doing other stuff.
Bobcat said, okay, for another crisis party, Brett should host the true crime show since he has a face made for radio.
Oh, burn.
Only he can say that.
That's so rude.
You can't
I
say
made
that.
that joke.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
only I
say
can say
that.
that.
Yeah.
That's.
So rude.
I'm done.
He's about
No.
to rage quit for reals.
He's really going to do it. Oh, no.
Fiend V said, best house Carl ever.
It's me. I'm Lydia, the carrier of burdens. She's the house Carl. I have no idea what that is.
House Carl?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Is that like a hot Carl?
No.
Hopefully nothing like that. Guys, thank you so much. Lydia, Andy, thank you so much. Let everyone know where they can find you.
Oh, you can go to andyleiterman.com.
Perfect.
That's LEITERMANN.
Aren't you sad now that you canceled so many times on coming on the show when you could have been
Everybody
here for all
loved
this
you.
fun?
I
Yeah.
am, but maybe you could show me up by coming on Lydia's show
Oh, yeah. We should do
Co-
that.
in the near future.
Perhaps we will do
That'd
that.
be fun.
Lydia, thank you so much. We are going to miss you so much.
Thank you for having me
It's-
once again, Brett.
It makes me very, very sad, but also very happy because I wouldn't have known you guys if
I know, right?
it's just it's a crazy time. Let everyone know where they can find you.
You guys can find
Thank
me
you.
on Twitter and minds.com at Sour Patch Lits. Also at Sour Patch Lits, which Andy put together for me. I'm very grateful to have met you guys too. Really grateful I was able to come on Pop Culture Crisis as often as I was. Really glad that Andy could join me this one last time.
You
Top
do
Patch
understand
Lids
that,
me.
like, you're
I'm gonna
kind
cry.
of.
Tearing up right now.
I'm not dying.
You okay? You okay?
okay.
I'm just saying, like, you do understand that you're making my life a lot more difficult now
Yes.
that I have to find a replacement.
That's why we're doing
That's,
this, Brett. It's because we hate you personally.
Well, I was hoping you'd say it was to build character, but okay. I mean,
well,
hating
you know
is
that
fine.
too. I
Tough
mean,
love,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
We're pushing you out of the nest.
That's right.
Brett.
Kicking you out.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Mary, there was one more super chat
Yes.
there.
Blue Heart said the Flex Tape infomercial was pure comedy.
Yes, so
That was
good.
funny.
Was
that
it good?
was my favorite.
Was it
yeah.
good?
There's like this lit thing leaking. Well, didn't he build like a boat out of flex tape? I think he did. First of
Incredible.
all, amazing. And then there's like this. It's the meme now. It's the leak.
Yeah, it's the leak,
Yeah, and he
yeah.
slaps
Yep.
it on there and it fixes it. It's great.
And there's one more there. One more.
Oh,
It
really?
just came through. It hasn't gone off yet.
Thug Life Theoden, King of Brohan, said, "No, don't leave us, Linda."
Come follow me in my other undertakings.
They're gonna hostage crisis here until to keep Lydia here until she can't ever leave.
Torture Andy.
Keep tabs on sourpatchlids.me.
Yeah,
Mary,
see where we're going.
Yeah, yes, right. I want to remind you guys one last time that you should go click on our referral link and help us earn points in the Jeremy's Razors competition. We want that McLaren /250K. That's still up for debate. And you can find me on Instagram and now Twitter. I took my Twitter off of private at Mary Archive for both of them. And also whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them on Instagram. So go follow me there.
I'm going to go ahead and put that referral link for these guys on sourpatchlids.me as well.
That'd be great.
So
hey, thank you.
You can find it everywhere.
Yeah, it'll be there.
You won't be able to escape it.
That's right.
Everywhere for everybody. Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dastovic for the show. We are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would rather listen rather than watch, remember the part about face for radio? Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify. I still think you'll have more fun watching. Just cover up the part of the screen with my face on it. So that's what you do. Well, if you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. We will miss you guys, Andy, Lydia, but we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.